From the Nationwide News Network. Comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, Spanish Town and its environs still tense following the police killing of the reputed leader of the feared one-order gang, Othniel Tickman Loban.
They're conducting operations and maintaining high visibility presence across the entire town center.
Schools and businesses across the old capital were forced to close today as tensions mount following the gangsters' killing.
Government has failed to spend billions of dollars from the capital budget for the second year in a row.
Police theorizing man of unsound mind chopped Mayor of St. Anne's Bay, Michael Belnavis.
Prime Minister wants better management of local talent to stem migration in health sector.
In news from the rest of the world, U.S. Coast Guard to increase maritime patrols at Bahamian border.
Trump handed his first defeat in court as a judge temporarily blocks his order to end birthright citizenship.
In headline sports, West Indies beat host Malaysia to secure Super 6 spot at Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the JCF says it has been working to maintain order in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, following the fatal shooting of Othniel Loban. He's the feared leader of the One Order Gang. We'll hear from President of the St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce, Dennis Robotham, and the Mayor of Spanish Town, Norman Scott.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to the flare-up of violence in Spanish Town? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, several schools in the old capital were forced to dismiss early today in response to the violence rocking the city. Principal of Spanish Town Primary School, Roger Curlew, and Principal of Jonathan Grant High School, Kevin Wittick, will join us.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile. Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, January 23, 2025.
News at 5 is brought to you by KFC's Popcorn Chicken, now available in hot and spicy. Do whatever the crunch you want with KFC's new hot and spicy Popcorn Chicken. KFC, it's finger licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The security forces are at this hour maintaining a strong presence across Spanish Town following a tense and violent 24-hour period in the old capital. The present flare-up stems from the fatal police killing of reputed leader of the notorious One Order Gang, Othniel Loban, also known as Tickman. Shalois Michael reports.
Loban was among the 5 prime targets under the initiative being pursued by the National Joint Anti-Gang Task Force to rid the country of organized criminal groups. The task force felt it had cornered Loban in Ellerslie Pen on Wednesday morning, but met fierce resistance from gunmen who engaged them in a shootout. Hours later, Loban was killed in a confrontation with members of the Anti-Gang Task Force in the vicinity of 6 Miles in St. Andrew around 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Following his death, gunshots rang out in several Spanish Town communities throughout the night into this morning. Commanding Officer for St. Catherine North Police, Hopeton Nicholson, says the police are maintaining a strong presence in the area.
About 3 p.m., the entire Spanish Town area is very calm. Things appear orderly. The joint police military teams are out. They're conducting operations and maintaining high visibility presence across the entire town center with special focus on the curfew area, which is South Meadows and Ellerslie Pen. We ask citizens just to cooperate with members of the security forces. So that they can go about their lawful business. And those who are living or working in the curfew area, we are suggesting that you cooperate with members of the security forces as they will have checks at various points going in and out of the Tars, Meadows and Ellison Pen Committee.
On Thursday, gunmen and supporters of Laban launched several retaliatory attacks across Spanish Town and its environs. Roadblocks were mounted at several points in the town, including Young Street. The train gate in the vicinity of Williams Street was also drawn across the road, blocking vehicular traffic. The court's bargain center building was also damaged by fire. It's understood the threat level against members of the JCF has been raised to extreme. Superintendent Nicholson is urging residents to desist from carrying out attacks against the security forces.
All the roads have been cleared and we hope that will maintain, and we ask citizens not to attack our police officers or attack our vehicles or damage any of our vehicles. We appeal to citizens. We do not want to resort to lethal force, so we ask citizens to desist from doing so. We want peace to reign and we hope that in short order all will return to normalcy.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Acting ACP for Area 5 Christopher Phillips says 4 people involved in the unrest in Spanish Town have been arrested.
We now have a strong presence in the area. All our roadways are clear and we continue to maintain a presence in the Spanish Town area as best as possible, watching carefully all those communities that were so connected to the disease. We have things under control. We are not going to allow the kind of disorder that we have seen in Spanish Town over the years. We are going to be very much intolerant of this kind of behavior. Already we have 4 persons in custody who were a part of blocking the road last night, and so we're going to be sending a strong message. We're appealing to persons to desist from this practice. It is not taking us anywhere.
Christopher Phillips, acting ACP for Area 5.
And the Education Ministry says it's working with law enforcement to ensure the safety and security of students and staff at schools affected by the violence in Spanish Town. This after several institutions were forced to close early today. Affected schools in the Old Capital include St. Jago High, Homestead Primary, Eltham High, Eltham Park Primary, St. Catherine High, and Burmar Academy. Other schools said to be affected include Jonathan Grant High, as well as Spanish Town Infant and Spanish Town Primary. In Kingston, parents of students at Immaculate Conception High were notified to collect their children following an early dismissal of classes. The ministry says all other schools in the Spanish Town area were advised to close at 12:30 this afternoon. The Portfolio Minister, Senator Dana Morris Dixon, is urging education stakeholders to ensure all safety precautions are taken to protect students and staff. The ministry says updates will be provided as the situation develops. Meanwhile, the flare-up of gang violence in Spanish Town and its environs brought economic activity to a standstill today. Robin Williams visited the town centre and filed this report.
The once busy streets of Spanish Town resembled a ghost town on Thursday. Shops and stalls remained closed, vending zones were deserted, and residents hurried through the town centre to avoid lingering in the tense atmosphere. Empty taxis lined the streets, with operators lamenting the significant drop in commuters. Many described the situation as dire.
No, Kingston, I have a chair. Hello. Come in. Hello. Hello, baby. Yeah, I have a chair, my boss. It affects taxi man from the killing them who are going night town. You understand me? I say this location and we park and we load and them something there. Nothing go on. It affects commerce, it affects how people travel, affects people daily life. It take me 2 hours from Spanish Town to go to New Kingston this morning. So everybody late for work this morning. But it don't look good right now.
So this violence thing, it slow up work big time because it make people who really don't want to go out for go work make excuses, telling them workplace, say boy violence and then get to stay home. So they don't get to travel, we don't nobody to carry. You understand? So me feel like that the violence make a big impact on how we work and make money and survive in this. I don't know what joke thing is right about now. I'm stressed out.
One coke shop owner expressed her frustration, saying she had only made 5 sales since opening business.
Really and truly, the violence affect the business very bad because normally from morning would have at least 120,000 or more. From morning, I really sell like about 5 food. That trust me. And when business slow, your PA go slow too. Just mash up everything for everybody right now.
A female vendor who's identified herself as a single mother said she had no choice but to brave the uncertainty and sell her goods to provide for her children.
I have the 2 boys, them go school, one go art, one go high school, single mother. So just have to trust God in the street. Don't feel peace of what's happening about it. Just have to leave everything to the Almighty God.
Despite their fears, some vendors told our news team they refuse to cower as their livelihoods depend on their earnings. President of the St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce, Dennis Rabotham, noted the devastating impact the violence has had on the local business community.
Totally affected because everything is shut down. I don't think I drove down there this morning to open and a number of roads were blocked. Nobody opened. Everybody is shut down right at this point in time. We are advised by the police that they have it under control, but once that flare-up is there, nobody's going to open. So commuters, vehicular traffic, everything has been diverted. So that is the thing, and that has affected us on the bottom line. No business today, so the economy is going to be affected.
As the tension lingers, citizens who work and traverse the Spanish Town area remain on edge, uncertain about what the days will bring. Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
And following a tense 24 hours across the old capital, many are asking who was the late reputed leader of the one-order criminal gang, Othni Loban, and what made him a prime target for law enforcement. George Davis tells us.
Othni Loban, known throughout the old capital as Thickman, was a 42-year-old resident of Towes Pen, Spanish Town in St. Catherine, and the undisputed leader of the notorious one-order gang. He was a person of interest linked to a range of serious criminal activities, including orchestrated murders, extortion, and shootings. Loban exerted significant influence over several communities and operated within a sophisticated network. He was alleged to have had a hand in the murder of 4 men. Orville Reed on Wallen Avenue, Portmore in St. Catherine on May 27, 2024, Anthony Harris, a.k.a. Tony Meng in Hill Run, Spanish Town, St. Catherine on July 26, 2023, plus 2 other men, Andre Dixon, a.k.a. Rumblacks, and Ricardo Gardner, a.k.a. Jaja, both in Spanish Town in 2023. Sources say Loban was ruthless when it came to crushing opposition from rival gangs or from those within his one-order organization who failed to hold the order. His primary areas of influence were Eltham, Job Lane, Cedar Valley, James Mountain District in Sligoville, all in St. Catherine, and Mountain View in St. Andrew. Our sources say Loban had a pattern of behavior whereby he left Spanish Town around 5 p.m. daily and spent the nights in Mountain View at the residence of his girlfriend. It's understood his girlfriend assisted with his business ventures. Sources say his business ventures through his girlfriend indicated an attempt to legitimize or launder financial gains from his criminal activities. It's understood that among law enforcement agents, especially those on the Joint Anti-Gang Task Force, Loban was cast as a calculated and dangerous individual who operated with a high degree of influence and mobility. Loban almost exclusively traveled by toll roads, suggesting a calculated effort to avoid detection. Loban was said to have been well connected and operated with calculated mobility, making him a hard target for the police. He was designated a primary threat to efforts by law enforcement officials to curtail gang-related violence and extortion. George Davis for Nationwide News.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 14 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. Enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Island Couples Sanssouci in Ocherias from $395 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by calling Couples Resorts at 876-632-8200 or by visiting couples.com. Conditions apply.
Continuing the news, for the second consecutive budget, the government has failed to spend billions of dollars in capital expenditure. That's according to the third supplementary estimates tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The revised expenditure outlined a $19 billion reduction in capital projects that have either been reallocated to other areas or returned to the consolidated fund. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
At the end of the fiscal year 2023-2024, the government was forced to return nearly $9 billion to the consolidated fund due to under-expenditure in the capital budget. They've repeated the under-expenditure for the current fiscal year. However, this time it's to the tune of $19 billion that will either return to the consolidated fund or be reallocated into other areas. That's more than double the previous sum. This was outlined by Chairman of the Public Administrations and Appropriations Committee, Mikhail Phillips.
Slower than program execution of several projects, several public investment projects has resulted in underspending of $19 billion at the end of the third quarter of the fiscal year. This includes $11.2 billion under the Ministry of Finance and Public Service contingency for public investment projects. Of the $19 billion, approximately $13 billion has been redistributed to new and ongoing projects. Projects to which resources have been reallocated: Montego Bay Perimeter Road, $7 billion, Spark, $2.2 billion, acquisition of 100 JUTC buses, $893 million, Portmore Resilience Park, $425 million, and dualization of Hillshire Brayton Roads, $206 million.
The new budget for the financial year has been reduced overall by approximately $6 billion. This means a total expenditure of $1.386 trillion, slightly down from the secondary supplementary estimates of $1.392 trillion. Finance Minister Fayval Williams says the revised budget represents the government's commitment to fiscal prudence.
We're putting forward a budget for the rest of this year that includes all the months of the fiscal year that have passed to March, the end of March 2025. We're putting forward a budget that reflects a lot of thought, and it reflects a government that is careful about spending for the country and is careful about ensuring that the finances of the country go to the right place.
Minister Williams says the ability to quickly recover from multiple shocks is a testament to good governance and the resilience of the Jamaican people.
We can say that we've recovered from the Category 4 Hurricane Beryl that devastated the agricultural sector. That was followed by Tropical Storm Rafael. We've come through all of that, and there's only one word I have to describe the economy of Jamaica, the people and businesses of Jamaica, and that word is resilient. We are a resilient nation, a resilient people, and to have come through all of that and present yet another budget that meet the fiscal rules, I want to say to everyone, this government has been performing and this government is being prudent with the financial resources of this country.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson voiced his concern over the repeated under-expenditure.
I am concerned about the underspend of 19 billion. When you look at the capital budget, my recollection, I could be wrong, but you can confirm, my recollection, it was about 75 billion central government and about 75 billion from the public bodies. 19 billion is a large chunk, and we have been consistent in the last couple of financial years in underspending the capital budget. So I want to find out what the reasons are for the underspend. I noticed that there are a number of public investment projects which have not materialized at the pace that we would want it. The government has made a commitment to address procurement. You can give us an update as to where we are in the rationalization and the simplification of the procurement process.
Julian Robinson. Minister Favour Williams says the under-expenditure is related to new projects which failed to come on stream in the current financial year.
Starting with your question about the 19 billion, if you will note, 11.2 billion of that is from the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. It's from the contingency. It's for contingency for public investment projects. And to note that most of the remainder of the allocation is for new projects that have not come on stream just yet.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. She was speaking during Tuesday's meeting of the Standing Finance Committee.
Nationwide News understands that the police are theorizing that the man who is suspected of breaking into a house owned by St. Anne's Bay Mayor Michael Belnavis and then chopping the mayor may be of unsound mind. The man reportedly broke into Mayor Belnavis's house through a window at the side of the property. It's understood that Belnavis visited the premises upon being alerted that someone had broken in. When he got there, he reportedly saw the suspect sitting on a couch, drinking liquor and watching television. The suspect reportedly told the police that it was his sister and not Belnavis who owns the house. He reportedly added that his sister also owns a popular hotel resort nearby. Checks by the police reportedly reveal that the suspect's sister owns neither of the properties. The house is confirmed to be the property of Mayor Belnavis. Mayor Belnavis is being treated at hospital.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
In regional news, U.S. Coast Guards will be increasing patrols in key areas, including the border between the Bahamas and South Florida. The move is in compliance with U.S. President Donald Trump's executive order to move military personnel to protect America's maritime borders. The Coast Guard says assets such as cutters, aircraft, boats, and deployable specialized forces will be increasingly used in key border areas to deter and prevent a maritime mass migration from Haiti and Cuba. Additionally, the U.S. Marine Police will be working to detect, deter, and interdict illegal migration, drug smuggling, and other terrorist or hostile activity before it reaches America's borders. U.S. Coast Guards will also increase policing of the border between the U.S. and Mexico in the Pacific, Texas, and the Gulf of Mexico, among other areas.
A federal judge on Thursday temporarily blocked President Donald Trump's executive order redefining birthright citizenship. U.S. District Judge John Coffner called it blatantly unconstitutional during the first hearing in a multi-state effort challenging the order. The case is one of 5 lawsuits being brought by 22 states and a number of immigrant rights groups across the country. Trump's executive order, which he signed on Inauguration Day, is slated to take effect on February 19. The Trump administration argued in papers filed Wednesday that the states don't have grounds to bring a suit against the order. The administration's attorney also clarified that the executive order only applies to people born after February 19.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour. Spanish Town still tense following the police killing of the reputed leader of the feared one-order gang, Othniel Tickman Loban.
They're conducting operations and maintaining high visibility presence across the entire town center.
Schools and businesses across the old capital were forced to close today as tensions mount following the gangsters' killing.
Government has failed to spend billions of dollars from the capital budget for the second year in a row.
Police, a theorizing man of unsound mind, chopped Mayor of St. Anne's Bay, Michael Belnavis.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by KFC's Popcorn Chicken, now available in hot and spicy. Do whatever the crunch you want with KFC's new hot and spicy Popcorn Chicken. KFC, it's finger licking good.
The following earthquake tip is brought to you by Conrad Douglas and Associates Limited and its subsidiary Environmental Science and Technology Limited. At Conrad Douglas and Associates Limited, we design buildings and infrastructure to withstand earthquakes by incorporating flexible and robust materials. The preceding earthquake tip was brought to you by Conrad Douglas and Associates Limited and its subsidiary Environmental Science and Technology Limited. Telephone 876-929-0023.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Mount Pleasant Academy moved 9 points clear in the Ray & Nephew Jamaica Premier League after a clinical 3-0 win over defending champions Cavalier in their midweek clash at Drax Hall this afternoon. Joshawn Anglin, Daniel Green and Franco Celestine were on target for Theodore Whitmore's team, who are now on 46 points. That's 9 clear of Montego Bay United, who are playing this evening against Humberline at the Montego Bay Sports Complex starting at 6:30. In another completed game today, Racing stopped Tivoli Gardens 2-0 on the back of goals from Tajay Grant and Nikhil Ellis. Arnett Gardens are also in action this evening. They face Malines United at the Tony Spaulding Sports Complex, and that game is set to kick off at 6:30. Italian club AC Milan has agreed a deal to sign Manchester United, that's Manchester City, captain Kyle Walker, on loan for the remainder of the season. The agreement includes an option to buy the defender in the summer when the loan deal comes to an end. Walker, who has made 316 appearances for City, will now travel to Italy for a medical. The fullback last featured for City against West Ham on January 4, after which he told manager Pep Guardiola he wanted to explore his options around a potential move abroad. The 34-year-old prefers a move to Italy rather than the Saudi Pro League, where he was initially linked with. AC Milan is also linked with Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford, but registration rules in Italy mean they are only able to sign one player from the UK during the current transfer window. Walker has been part of all 6 Premier League title-winning teams at City under Pep Guardiola, having joined from Tottenham Hotspur in 2017 in a £50 million deal. The right-back, who has 93 caps for England, was named the City's joint captain in 2023. Trinidad and Tobago's teenager Samara Ramnath took 4 wickets for just 6 runs this morning as the West Indies beat host Malaysia by 53 runs in Kuala Lumpur to secure a spot in the Super 6 stage of the Women's Under-19 T20 World Cup. Asabi Calendar top scored at 30 as the Windies posted 112. Jasara Claxton weighed in with 19 and Abigail Bryce 14. Malaysia was then dismissed for 59 in 18 overs as Nijani Cumberbatch and Erin Dean supported with 2 wickets apiece. This victory marked the first West Indies' first win in the tournament after a tough start where they lost to India and Sri Lanka. The win secured 3rd place in Group A for the Windies and also eliminated Malaysia, who finished at the foot of the group with 3 defeats. The West Indies is scheduled to play Australia, who topped Group B in the Super 6 match on Saturday in Bangai. And West Indies leg spinner Jomil Warrican has catapulted 12 spots up the ICC Test rankings following his historic performance in the first Test against Pakistan at the Moulton Cricket Stadium. and that should be catapulted, right? Now, despite the West Indies losing by 127 runs inside 3 days, Warrican grabbed the 7 for 32 in the second innings, and he finished the match with figures of 10 for 101, the best bowling figures by a West Indian at the venue and third best by a visiting bowler. In the last ranking, the 32-year-old Warrican, well, he's moved up 50 to 53 and, of course, to 41. Since he was at 53, he's now at 41, surpassing his previous best of 50. Fast bowler Jaden Seals remained the highest ranked West Indies bowler at number 12, Kemar Roach the next highest at 19. Pacer Alzarri Joseph dropped 3 spots to number 33 and Jason Holder slipped 2 places to number 34. Meanwhile, the West Indies middle order batter Alex Athanaze was the biggest mover in the batting ranking. He leapt 14 spots to 60th on the back of his 55 in the second innings against Pakistan. However, Test skipper Craig Brathwaite slipped 2 spots to 52 after his batting struggles continue in the first Test. And that will do it for sports. We're going to be back there with much more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you. The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:30.
The Jamaica diaspora sends over $3 billion back to Jamaica per year, but it is too complicated for them to open investment accounts in Jamaica and invest their money. Blue Maho Capital has unlocked diaspora direct investment, and we are helping to move the Caribbean forward. Learn more about us at www.bluemahocapital.com.
The following earthquake tip is brought to you by Digital Commodities Limited. When choosing your home or business to rent or buy, check if the building is earthquake resistant per local building codes. The preceding earthquake tip was brought to you by Digital Commodities Limited. Telephone 876-960-8359.
The following earthquake tip is brought to you by Coast to Coast Concrete. Retrofit and reinforce your house. If you're in a high-risk area, take steps to reinforce your house. Bolt your house to the foundation and reinforce support beams as needed. Secure furniture such as bookshelves and cabinets to the walls. This will decrease the risk of furniture moving or falling and injuring someone. The preceding earthquake tip was brought to you by Coast to Coast Concrete. Telephone 876-754-7472.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink. 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multilink. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multilink. 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, and today we're focusing on that flare-up of violence in Spanish Town. And areas in Spanish Town resembled a ghost town when Nationwide reporters visited the old capital early on Thursday. This following a flare-up of violence following the fatal shooting of Othniel Laban, the leader of the One Order gang, on Wednesday night. The St. Catherine South Police are reporting that Laban, otherwise called Tickman, was among the 5 prime targets under the initiative being pursued by the National Joint Anti-Gang Task Force to rid the country of organized criminal groups.
Now, listeners, gunmen and supporters of Laban attacked public buildings and private businesses in retaliation. Roadblocks were mounted at several points in the old capital, including on Yonge Street, while the train gate in the vicinity of William Street was drawn across the road, blocking vehicular traffic. A fire damaged the exterior of the Quartz building. And our news center received audio of what sounded like a barrage of gunshots on St. John's Road, in Homestead, and sections of Tawes Pen. Now, Laban is from the Tawes Pen community, and that sits across the road from Ellerslie Pen, the location for a shootout between gunmen and the police on Wednesday.
Well, both the JCF and JDF have a strong presence throughout Spanish Town as they seek to purge the streets of those intent on challenging state agents and disrupting order. A curfew is now in effect for the communities of Ellerslie Pen and Tawes Pen, and the curfew will remain until 6 p.m. on Friday, January 24.
The boundaries of that curfew include the Spanish Town Bypass, William Street, French Street, and Oxford Road. And of course, persons within the boundaries are required to remain within their premises unless authorized by the commander. Joining us now to discuss further, we have the president of the St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce, Dennis Robotham, and the commanding officer for the St. Catherine North Police Division, Superintendent Hopton Nicholson. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, SSP. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Robotham.
Superintendent, let me start with you. Good afternoon. What's the latest in terms of the security situation in Spanish Town?
Well, at this moment, it appears quite calm in the Spanish Town area. The curfew is in place in the Tawes Pen communities at this time. All the roadblocks were cleared by the security forces, and we have been maintaining a strong presence all day, and it will continue to into the night as well. But at the moment, the tension is not as high as it was early this morning, and we see not the usual, but vehicles and persons going about. Going to and from. Less persons in and around the Tawes Meadows area, but persons are traversing the space. But the security forces are out in their numbers.
Mm-hmm. And has the situation stabilized to the point where you believe you can drop the threat level against the security forces? We understand it was raised to extreme.
No, we're not going to drop the level against the security forces, but I can tell you the tension is not as high with the general populace in the area at this time.
And Dennis Robotham, from where you sit as president of the St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce, what's the feeling like among business interests in the area?
Well, as you all know, it's like a recurring decimal. I think last year, we were on the program dealing with a similar matter. And whenever this happens, it creates havoc on the business sector. We have to close and then restarting and getting back to some semblance of normalcy takes up to 2 to 3 weeks for people to get in the groove and start moving again. Hence, the bottom line is really affected seriously. Economically, we have lost quite a whole lot of time, money, effort, everything. Today in particular is a Thursday. It's a delivery day, and the logistics of delivery from major distributors usually come on a Thursday to prepare for Friday and Saturday, and all of that is now in a chaotic situation that is going to create another problem on Friday, which is is usually smooth sailing. These things really create a problem, and it has become such a sore in our society. I think the whole problem, and kudos to SSP and his team and the entire JDF and JCF has been doing a tremendous job. We see the trajectory going down, violent crimes, and I continue to speak to SSP on numerous occasions, and we have dialogue on a very regular basis. But this continues to raise its ugly head, and we look at when there's going to be a time when we can say we used to talk about what used to happen. It is about time we see some real inroads, which I think is being done now. In this era, we see some efforts both in strategic planning and that sort of thing, moving the efforts to cauterize the situation as it is. I mean, schools were closed, all commercial activities were suspended. The transportation sector was in chaos. It is something that we have to look at in the long term. Spanish Town and St. Catherine could be so way ahead if it wasn't for crime. I mean, we are booming at this particular time. You imagine that a lot of companies and big corporate entities are coming into the space. Recently, we have Popeyes and Little Caesars coming into the space. You imagine if we had that crime situation under control. I would describe it, we have euphoric possibilities if a number of things are taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Superintendent, obviously a part of that
Look like
is...
you want me to continue.
No.
I was just giving you time to
No. Superintendent, obviously part of that is the mental security, that people feel, that they feel.
Hello?
Mr. Robotham? He doesn't seem he's hearing us, Dino. Superintendent? Superintendent Nicholson? No, all right.
Seems
So
like we've lost him
not
too.
hearing the super. Mr. Robotham, can you hear us? No. All right. So we're talking to President of the St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce, Dennis Robotham, and the Commanding Officer of the St. Catherine North Police, Superintendent Hopton Nicholson, getting a situation, a feel of the situation in Spanish Town following the flare-up of violence across the old capital. This stemming from the police killing of Othniel Loban, otherwise called Tickman. He's the reputed leader of the One Order gang. We're trying to reconnect with the gentleman, but we're up on the break. So let's go to the break and come back with more.
KFC popcorn chicken. KFC popcorn chicken. Incredible, delicious, finger licking in this house when me dip it. I can't resist it. Once you start, you can't stop.
Do whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Now available in hot and spicy. Try with our new dipping sauces. KFC, it's finger licking good.
KFC popcorn chicken.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. Enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Island Couples Sans Souci in Ocherias from $395 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by calling Couples Resorts at 876-632-8200 or by visiting couples.com. Conditions apply.
Clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
15 minutes to 6. This is an important announcement from the National Water Commission. The NWC wishes to advise customers that its Spanish Town and Yang's Well offices in Spanish Town, St. Catherine are currently closed due to a flare-up of violence in the area. The NWC is seeking to assure its customers that the offices will be reopened once it is safe to do so. It says the customers will be advised accordingly. During the closure, customers may contact the NWC via the website at nwcjamaica.com, email customercare@nwc.com.jm, and download and use the NWC mobile app via the Google Play or App Store. In addition, customers may connect with the NWC via their social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and X using NWC's handle, that's at NWCJam. The NWC apologizes to its valued customers for any inconvenience caused by the necessary closure. That was an important announcement from the National Water Commission.
Multi-link, access every town, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
You're tuned in to the cover story on Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
My name is Sanjay Lewis, and we're discussing the the violence that flare up in Spanish Town. And we have with us the president of the St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce, Dennis Robotham. And we also have the commanding officer for the St. Catherine North Police Division, Superintendent Hopeton Nicholson.
We're still trying to make or reconnect with the gentleman. We're having just a little bit of a challenge with the lines. But one of the things I wanted to pose to the superintendent, Sanjay, he says that, he believes that, the situation has, is brought under control. And based on what Mr. Robotham was explaining to us, obviously there's still that need for mental security. He says oftentimes when this happens, it takes up to 2 to 3 weeks for things to return to, full normalcy. And so I was asking the superintendent if he can give the assurance to the residents of Spanish Town, those who live and work in Spanish Town, that the security forces do in fact have it under control and that they can get on with their business, get on with commute and what they need to do in the old capital. I understand this morning, for example, court was also interrupted. The Jambar advising lawyers, not to venture into Spanish Town. So it really did cause significant disruptions today.
Yeah. And, I've spoken to Dennis a number of times, Ricardo, on the same matter regarding the flare-up of violence in Spanish Town. And it's something that he has always said that there's so many opportunities that exist in Spanish Town only if they can get that the flare-up and the violence that is happening under control. And it's very hard for business interests and also individuals who live in the general area, the fear of not knowing when there will be another flare-up in the community.
Yeah. All right. So Superintendent Hopeton Nicholson is back with us. Superintendent?
Yes, sir.
Right. Good. Right. Thank you. So what I was posing to you before we lost contact, you said that you think, your lawmen have the situation under control now. And Mr. Robotham was outlining that, usually when these things happen, sometimes it takes up to 3 weeks for that sense of security to return to residents. Can you give them the assurance, residents of the old capital, that your lawmen are in fact in control and they can freely go about their business starting this afternoon into tomorrow?
Yes, but also I would just like to point out that there's a lot of misinformation
yes.
out there, and we suggest that persons use the legitimate medium such as the JCF web page and the releases that are issued by the JCF High Command, especially those from the CCU, and follow mainstream. The mainstream media normally have more accurate information than some of the vloggers or some of the unverified social media posts. So some of the social media posts are causing unnecessary tension in the space. So we just want persons to follow the legitimate, or should I say, the verified information that are placed out there. And secondly, there are, I don't know what end is benefiting some persons. Some persons have exaggerated some of what is happening. For example, a single road is blocked to hear that the entire area is blocked, and so forth. So persons have multiplied the information in such a way that it is causing unnecessary panic. So we are going to be strategic in communicating via CCU, via CCN, to let the public know what is happening. And if there's an area of tension, we'll also highlight it.
Yes.
We want persons to understand that we are there. A little inconvenience now and again, so for checks and balance, where the police and the military are there. So you'll see us all over both day and night. So do not mind a little inconvenience, just to double check, especially persons going through, whether you're walking or you're driving through the town. So it is more of a perception than the reality, because the truth be told, some of the things that used to happen some time ago is no longer happening. Our members are well trained, very equipped, and we are dedicated. And we know that some issues will come up, but our response is very professional, very strategic, and we are going to be there so that persons can return to their normal lives as soon as practicable.
Superintendent, are you finding that the kind of mischief you just described on social media, vloggers, bloggers, is that complicating your efforts in any way?
It does because there are some persons who do not search for verified information. They just take what they get or what they see or what is forwarded to their phone and run with it. So it causes unnecessary panic, and then we have to do a lot of damage control in trying to reassure the public. But the truth be told, the era is almost at normalcy, just a little bit, a tension there. And also there are some members of the media who, the way they presented something, for example, there's a threat level against police, and some persons are putting out that there is a threat against Spanish Town, a threat against the people of Spanish Town. So that can cause unnecessary panic as well. So just want persons to understand the difference between threat against police versus high tension, increased tension, or threat against the lives of the ordinary citizens there.
But Superintendent, isn't it reasonable though that people would, if the threat against the police is at extreme, that civilians should also be very careful and worried about that?
Yes, but I understand, but we want persons to understand that there is a difference. There can be replay effects, but we are talking about a trained person versus the ordinary person. And the police officers, they are going out there in their numbers. We are taking no chances, and we are equipped for the most part. So we want that, and we want persons to understand that people really want to attack members of the state. You understand? So persons understand. So when we stop and we check and we do our strategic deployment and carry our operation, people understand that the state, we are there to protect not just our own interests, but the interests of everyone, because we want our members have to be safe so we can protect the members of the public. And I can tell you, order has already been restored for the most part and will continue because we are not going to leave.
Mm-hmm. And Dennis Roboto, I gather you're back with us. You've heard the commanding officer, and I'm sure you're in dialogue with your members. Are you confident that the police they have this under control, and you're satisfied with the information coming from the police?
Well, definitely. We have a good rapport with the High Command. And we have dialogue at all times. Whenever there's this situation, we will communicate so we understand, and we can make judgment based on our dialogue with the police. So there is not a problem where that is concerned. But nonetheless, it affects the business sector regardless of what we say because of how they feel. They feel threatened. There is a heightened sense of, security risk to come into this space. And as SSP rightly said, sometimes the media really give us a bad plug to look as if, it is so bad. And sometimes there's no problem in technical terms that is there. But the fact is, when we look at what is causing us in the business community, the loss of revenue, and as I was saying before, I don't know if you heard when we got cut off, that the repercussions continue to happen. And it takes quite a while to get back in stride because the public has got to feel secured, and it takes sometimes 2 to 3 weeks before we see a full recovery of businesses and people, enjoying the space or feel comfortable to come in the space.
Yeah. And so I just want to ask, Superintendent, this Loban fellow, was he the only one that your men were after?
Well, actually, it is the National Anti-Gang Task Force, not necessarily. That's from the headquarters level, and there are a number of gangsters across the country that they're after. So it is not necessarily a St. Catherine North. It's a National Anti-Gang Task Force.
And as far as you are aware, are there any other gangsters in your division that are
quite possible? Yeah. Quite possible they are high on the radar. And from time to time we put out some names. Some of them we will be dealing with from our divisional level, but some of them are high on the agenda so that the High Command has a team that is actually spearheading the operational thrust going after them in that regard, sir.
So your division wouldn't have been involved in the operation in 6 Miles?
Not that one, not last night. No, sir.
Okay. All right. Superintendent, thank you so much for your time. Thank you as well, Dennis Robotham, President of the Chamber of Commerce. Superintendent Hopton Nicholson is the commanding officer of the St. Catherine North Police. Thank you, gentlemen. The word from the superintendent, his lawmen have the situation under control, and he's advising residents to remain calm and urging those online not to spread mischief, as that's complicating the efforts in the old capital. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. The security forces are maintaining a strong presence across Spanish Town following a tense and violent 24-hour period in the older capital. The present flare-up stems from the police killing of reputed leader of the notorious One Order gang, Othniel Loban, also known as the Tickman. Superintendent Hopton Nicholson is the commanding officer for the St. Catherine North Division.
About 3 p.m., the entire Spanish Town area is very calm. Things appear orderly. The joint police military teams are out. They're conducting operations and maintaining high visibility presence across the entire town center with special focus on the curfew area, which is South Meadows and Elizabeth. We ask citizens just to cooperate with members of the security forces so that they can go about their lawful business. And those who are living or working in the curfew area, we are suggesting that you cooperate with members of the security forces as they will have checks at various points going in and out of the South Meadows and Elizabeth committee.
On Thursday, gunmen and supporters of Loban launched several retaliatory attacks across Spanish Town and its environs. Roadblocks were mounted at several points in the town. Superintendent Nicholson is urging residents to desist from carrying out attacks against the security forces.
All the roads have been cleared, and we hope that we'll maintain. And we ask citizens not to attack our police officers or attack our vehicles or damage any of our vehicles. We appeal to citizens. We do not want to resort to lethal force. So we ask citizens to desist from doing so. We want peace to reign, and we hope that in short order, all will return to normalcy.
Superintendent Hopton Nicholson, commanding officer for the St. Catherine North Division. And acting ACP for Area 5, Christopher Phillips, says 4 people involved in the unrest in Spanish Town have been arrested.
We now have a strong presence in the area. All our roadways are clear, and we continue to maintain a presence in the Spanish Town area as best as possible, watching carefully all those communities that were so connected to the deceased. We have things under control. We are not going to allow the kind of disorder that we have seen in Spanish Town over the years. We are going to be very much intolerant of this kind of behavior. Already we have 4 persons in custody who were a part of blocking the road last night. And so we're going to be sending a strong message. We're appealing to persons to desist from this practice. It is not taking us anywhere.
Christopher Phillips, acting ACP for Area 5. Meanwhile, the flare-up of gang violence in Spanish Town and its environs brought economic activity to a standstill on Thursday. Dennis Robotham is the president of the St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce.
Totally affected because everything is shuttered. I don't think I drove down there this morning to open, and a number of roads were blocked. Nobody opened. Everybody is shuttered right at this point in time. We are advised by the police that they have it under control, but once that flare-up is there, nobody's going to open. So commuters, vehicular traffic, everything has been diverted. So that is the thing, and that has affected us on the bottom line. No business today, so the economy is going to be affected.
Dennis Robotham, president of the St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce. For the second consecutive budget, the government has failed to spend billions of dollars in capital expenditure. The revised expenditure outlined a $19 billion reduction in capital projects that have either been reallocated to other areas or returned to the consolidated fund. The new budget for the financial year has been reduced overall by approximately $6 billion. Finance Minister Favour Williams says the revised budget represents the government's commitment to fiscal prudence.
We're putting forward a budget for the rest of this year that includes all the months of the fiscal year that have passed to March, the end of March 2025. We're putting forward a budget that reflects a lot of thought, and it reflects a government that is careful about spending for the country and is careful about ensuring that the finances of the country go to the right place.
Minister Williams says the ability to quickly recover from multiple shocks is a testament to good governance and the resilience of the Jamaican people.
We can say that we've recovered from the Category 4 Hurricane Beryl that devastated the agricultural sector. That was followed by Tropical Storm Rafael. We've come through all of that, and there's only one word I have to describe the economy of Jamaica, the people and businesses of Jamaica, and that word is resilient. We are a resilient nation, a resilient people, and to have come through all of that and present yet another budget that meet the fiscal rules, I want to say to everyone, this government has been performing and this government is being prudent with the financial resources of this country.
Meanwhile, opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, voiced his concern over the repeated under-expenditure.
I am concerned about the underspend of 19 billion. When you look at the capital budget, my recollection, I could be wrong, but you can confirm, my recollection, it was about 75 billion central government and about 75 billion from the public bodies. 19 billion is a large chunk, and we have been consistent in the last couple of financial years in underspending the capital budget. So I want to find out what the reasons are for the underspend. I noticed that there are a number of public investment projects which have not materialized at the pace that we would want it. The government has made a commitment to address procurement. You can give us an update as to where we are in the rationalization and the simplification of the procurement process.
Julian Robinson, opposition spokesman on finance. However, Minister Williams says the under-expenditure is related to new projects which failed to come on stream in the current financial year.
Starting with your question about the 19 billion, if you will note, 11.2 billion of that is from the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. It's from the contingency. It's for contingency for public investment projects. And to note that most of the remainder of the allocation is for new projects that have not come on stream just yet.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills?
Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid tie to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
The Jamaica diaspora sends over $3 billion back to Jamaica per year, but it is too complicated for them to open investment accounts in Jamaica and invest their money. Blue Maho Capital has unlocked diaspora direct investment, and we are helping to move the Caribbean forward. Learn more about us at www.bluemahocapital.com.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alex Raby. We kick things off with some football as Mount Pleasant Academy moved 9 points clear in the Rare Never Jamaica Premier League after a clinical 3-0 win over defending champions Cavalier in their midweek clash at Droxall this afternoon. J. Sean Anglin, Daniel Green and Franco Celestine were on target for the Theodore Whitmore team, who are now on 46 points, 9 clear of Montego Bay United, who are playing this evening against Humber Lion at the Montego Bay Sports Complex at 6:30. In another completed game today, Racing stopped Tivoli Gardens 2-0 on the back of goals from Tajay Grant and Nikhil Ellis. Arnett Gardens are also in action this evening. They face Mullines United at the Tony Spalding Complex at 6:30. Now to cricket, as West Indies batsman Alec Athanaze is hoping to carry his good form over into the second test against Pakistan at Multan Cricket Stadium starting on January 25. Athanaze hit 55 in the second innings of the first test, which the West Indies lost by 127 runs. The 26-year-old says that half-century is added motivation going into the second test.
Runs under your belt as a batter is currency, and that is what makes you feel good. But I mean, I felt good since the practice match, so I'm not short of confidence, I would say, but obviously going into the next test, that would boost me up a bit, so I'm feeling good.
The Caribbean side made a total of 260 runs in 2 innings of the first test, and Athanaze is calling on his fellow batsmen to be more patient at the crease.
I think obviously the wicket kind of suit my game, to be honest. I'm a sweeper. I sweep much. I sweep a lot. So I think my suggestion to the other batters is probably try to execute and probably look at the ball a bit longer. It is difficult to bat on the wickets here, no doubt. So I guess just trust your defense and I guess work on your sweeps and reverse sweeps.
He had high praises for the Windies bowlers.
We bowled very well, to be honest. It was a bit different this second innings. We understood the dimensions and how quick the outfield is, and the pace that we had to bowl on the wicket. I think we learned from them. So I wouldn't say that they didn't bat very well. I mean, we bowled better in the second innings. And I think the positives from my team is that we're looking to get out of our comfort zone to adapt to different conditions. So I think right now it's just focusing about executing and adapting as quickly as possible.
Alec Athanaze. Meanwhile, veteran cricket commentator Joseph Rez Pereira suggests that the selectors make 2 changes to the starting 11 for the second test between Pakistan and the West Indies.
I will leave out Louis because to play him might dent his confidence further with another failure. He can always come back and get runs in the first-class season. I will also leave out Carty, who just didn't look the part in the first test. I will include Django to bat at 5 and make his debut. And I have a surprise selection in De Silva. I just want to remind listeners that Willie Rodriguez opened with Hunt in 1963 at Oval, and they put on 58 when the West Indies couldn't get a start from McMorris Okoro. And in 1975, when the West Indies were looking for an opening partner for Fredericks after failure in the first test by Greenwich, Bernard Julian opened with Fredericks to Perth, and they put on 91. So I'm working on that theory that sometimes to throw in someone who probably has never opened. So Braffett, De Silva, Hodge, Athanaze, Django, Imlach, Graves, Sinclair, Moti, Warrick, and Seals will be my 11.
Joseph Fretz Pereira. Trinidad and Tobago teenager Samara Ramnath took 4 wickets for just 6 runs this morning as the West Indies beat host Malaysia by 53 runs in Kuala Lumpur to secure a spot in the Super 6 stage of the Women's Under-19 T20 World Cup. Asabi Kalanda top scored with 30 as the Windies posted 112. Jazhara Glaxon weighed in with 19 and Abigail Bryce 14. Malaysia was then dismissed for 59 in 18 overs as Nanjani Cumberbatch and Erin Dean supported with 2 wickets each. This victory marked the West Indies' first win in the tournament after a tough start, with losses to India and Sri Lanka. The win secured 3rd place in Group A for the West Indies and also eliminated Malaysia, who finished at the bottom of the group with 3 defeats. The West Indies is scheduled to play Australia, who topped Group D in the Super 6 match on Saturday in Banje. Now to track and fielders. National Sportsman and Sportswoman of the Year winners Roger Stoner and Shanika Ricketts will be among the honorees at the Queen's Grace Jackson meet at the National Stadium on Saturday. Stoner produced an Olympic record 70 meters in the men's discus to win the country's first gold medal in the event, while Ricketts produced a season's best 14.87 meters to take the silver medal in the women's triple jump in Paris. Chairman of the organizing committee, Oliver McNaught, says Stoner and Ricketts were chosen because of their stellar performances in 2024.
Shanika Ricketts is the record holder at the Queen's Grace National Meet, and her coach said to me, "Miss Max, we love to come to Queen's Meet. It really is a meet that we enjoy coming to." And Roger Stoner is also our record holder in the under-20 division. So because of their great performance last year, we had made a decision to honor them even before the Sportsman and the Sportswoman Awards last Friday.
McNaughton says the meet, which is in its 23rd year, has helped to nurture the careers of several of Jamaica's standout athletes.
So that's very special for us to know that several of our Olympians and world champions, Daniel Williams competed at the Queen League, Usain Astafa, Celia and Sharika, all of them started out there.
Olive McNaughton. And chairman of the organizing committee of Western Relays, Ray Harvey, announced that the late Hubert Lawrence will be honored at this year's staging of the meet at G.C. Foster College on February 8. Lawrence never missed a Western Relays meet during the last 30 years. He started to attend Western Relays when it was being held at Cornwall College and followed it to the incompleted Catherine Hall Stadium in the heart of the city. He also attended the meet when it was first held at G.C. Foster College in 2009 and 2010. When the meet was forced to relocate in order to access an all-weather track as none was available in Montego Bay due to the fact that the stadium was being completed. The meet eventually returned to Montego Bay, but had to return to G.C. Foster College in 2019 because the track in the west is unsafe for athletes to use. Lawrence's suggestions and recommendations over the years have contributed to the world-class relay carnival that Western Relays has become. This year's Western Relays will be its 46th staging. The event schedule will feature the throws, discus and shot put for all classes for girls and boys at the high school level for the second time after being introduced in 2024. The invitational 60 meters for clubs and institutions will be on the schedule again based on request from the coaches at the senior level. Minister of Sports Oliver Grange announced increased prize money for the 2025 Institute of Sports Primary School All-Ireland Football and Netball competitions. Minister Grange's announcement came at the draw for the competitions held at the National Arena. The prize money was increased by 60%.
And as a policy, the same prize money that football gets is the same prize money that netball gets. We're talking about equal rights and justice here. So the first place who got 200 last year when we gave the prize money, it is now 300,000. Second place got 125,000 last year. This year, it will be 200,000. Third place got 75,000 last year. This year, it's 150,000. And fourth place, who got 50,000 last year, will now get 100,000.
the winning coaches will not be left out.
The winning coaches for football and for netball. Last year, each received $10,000. This year, we're going to give you $20,000. So the total prize money for this year's competition is $1,140,000.
Olivia Greens. And finally in swimming. Last season, Woolmeran Kai Ratcliffe won the Carrier 13 to 14 boys breaststroke gold in the 50 and 100 meters events. He also set the national 13 to 14 100 meters breaststroke record of 1 minute 09.31 seconds. Last year, he set the 13 to 14 record 32.32 seconds and won the open 100 meters breaststroke in 1 minute 10.26 seconds. The records he will be aiming for this year will be the 15 to 16 record of 31.57 set by champions Bryce Butler in 2015. The open meet record is held by Keita Campbell, formerly of Calabar, now at Indiana River State College, at 1 minute 07.42 seconds. Ratcliffe swept all 3 50-meter breaststroke races last high school season at the ISA, ASAJ, and Mayberry meets. Meanwhile, another standout to look out for at this year's edition of the ISA meet will be Montego Bay High School's Leanna Wainwright. Wainwright will be competing in the 50, 100 and 200 meters freestyle, 50 meters butterfly and 50 meters backstroke. She has the most senior international experience, having competed at the Pan American Games and World Short Course Championships. She holds junior records for Jamaica in both the 25 and 50 meter pools. Last year, she set the 17 and over record in the 50 meters backstroke at 30.55 seconds and the 100 meters freestyle record at 1 minute 01.84 seconds. Wainwright will be looking to better the 17 and over record in the 50 meter freestyle of 27.40 seconds set last year by Alia Heaven of Campion, and the fastest overall time of the meet of 27.13 seconds set by Christiana Shirley, formerly of Immaculate, now at the prestigious Bowl Schools in Florida. For the 100 meters freestyle, she will be aiming to become the first schoolgirl under a minute at this competition. The fastest time at the meet was set in the 13 to 14 age group by Zanita Alvaranga, formerly of Immaculate, in 2019. Leanna is also the fastest high school girl of all time, with her national 50-meter breaststroke record of 30.10 seconds set at the Mayberry meet last year. I'm Alric Swiby, and that's your sport.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:21.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
29 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 27 in Montego Bay.
KFC pop, popcorn chicken. KFC popcorn chicken. Incredible, delicious, finger licking in the sauce when me dip it. I can't resist it. Once you start, you can't stop.
Do whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Now available in hot and spicy. Try with our new dipping sauces. KFC, it's finger licking good.
KFC popcorn chicken.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jackama figure dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Weed whacker figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, or Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
How certain are you that you're taking proper care of your pets?
How often do you take them to the vet? Just as we need annual checkups with our doctors, most pets need regular checkups too. Owning and caring for a family pet doesn't have to be a difficult or burdensome experience. Nationwide 90 FM has an exciting feature called Pets World that will help you take better care of your pets. Join Nationwide 90 FM every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning as we take you into the do's and don'ts of caring for your pets. That's Pets World every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Do you remember this?
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Don't worry, we never forget it. But in all seriousness, earthquakes are deemed the most dangerous natural disaster. We can never predict when one will hit our lovely Jamaica. But we can raise awareness and help you to prepare for one with our radio segment known as Seismic Dialogue. Tune in to the Seismic Dialogue every Monday at 7 p.m. during Nationwide at 5. We'll have discussions, listener interactions, and more. That's the Seismic Dialogue. Mondays at 7 p.m. during Nationwide at 5. Preparedness is key. Secure what matters, have a plan, and remain calm when the ground shakes. Brought to you by Digital Commodities, Conrad Douglas and Associates Limited, Coast to Coast Concrete Company Limited, and the Real Estate Board.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much. We invite you to weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. So it's been a tense 24-hour period in the Old Capital. Security forces are at this hour maintaining a strong presence across Spanish Town. The present flare-up stems from the police fatal shooting of reputed leader of the notorious One Order gang, Othniel Laban, also known as Tickman. Laban was among the 5 prime targets under the initiative being pursued by the National Joint Anti-Gang Task Force to rid the country of organized criminal groups. The task force felt it had cornered Laban in Ellerslie Pen on Wednesday morning, but met fierce resistance from gunmen who engaged them in a shootout. Now, hours later, Laban was killed in a confrontation with members of the anti-gang task force in the vicinity of 6 Miles in St. Andrew around 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Commanding Officer for St. Catherine North Police, Hopton Nicholson, says the police are maintaining a strong presence in the area.
About 3 p.m., the entire Spanish Town area is very calm. Things appear orderly. The joint police military teams are out. They're conducting operations and maintaining high visibility presence across the entire town center with special focus on the curfew area, which is South Meadows and Ellerslie Pen. We ask citizens just to cooperate with members of the security forces so that they can go about their lawful business. And those who are living or working in the curfew area, we are suggesting that you cooperate with members of the security forces as they will have checks at various points going in and out of the South Meadows and Ellerslie Pen committee.
Hopton Nicholson, commanding officer for St. Catherine North Police. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're asking, what's your reaction to the flare-up of violence in Spanish Town? Let us know your views, your thoughts in the comments section on our YouTube platform. But first, I'll go to the comments on our social media platform. Over on Facebook, Christopher Isaacs is saying, it's a good opportunity to clean up that place once and for all. Garbage, dirty running water, mash up road, stench and crime all in one. Beverly Barrett is saying, it will die down one day. No retreat, no surrender from our police. Fabian Smith, the state is working, okay, and should be allowed to do their work. Philip Jackson saying to us that it's unfortunate people defending criminal, and he's asking how
How can we ever be better? Shirley Brown is saying the security forces must do whatever lawful means it takes to maintain law and order and protect the citizens. Prince Wellington is saying to us that in about 3 days there will be something else that will cause us to forget about this incident, and then based on all the investigative reports and sources, arguments and the police reports, we are now able to determine that the police had a job to do and it was done. Nothing na go change. 9 nights is being discussed, and a heavy security presence, including helicopter, will be at the funeral. O'Neill Dennis is saying that the security force must be given all the resources to get back the community to a level of peace and calm, and all those who harboring criminals must be arrested. Michelle Bernard says flare-up of violence is not strange, but the security forces and government should work relentlessly to show these gang dogs that they're not in charge and will not take over the country. Philip Kidd is saying it's no big deal. We're used to it. Yeah? Yeah, okay. Mark Ranger saying a storm before the calm. And Shins for Life saying to us, one is not going to work. One is not going to work because as one down, 2 rise up. We need them by the dozen. Wow. This is like a reoccurring decimal, mashing up business and the country. And I can tell you, for the business community there in Spanish Town, when I went there, the business community entirely shut, doors closed, grills padlocked. They're little. I think what I saw open were like barber shops, and I saw like a haberdashery opened as well. One, yeah, I could count on maybe a hand how many business, like local business places were opened. Edney Powell is saying flare-up of violence will always occur, but the government of the day must use all the necessary force to repel it and show that law and order must prevail in Jamaica. Lily Rose is saying the police to get rid of every gangs and the idle people them who don't want to work and live off extortion money. Build a factory and put them all there and lock them up, let them work. And Rosalind Buck says, very organized. Natalie believes it's a sad situation. Original Boss Lady, forget about the judge. Take it to their maker and leave it there. Whether clans, 1 or 2 other, go home. Wow. If you're just joining us, your reaction to the flare-up of violence in Spanish Town on Instagram. No weapon formed against the hard-working men and women of the security forces must prosper. That's coming from one Empress. Leighton Levy speaks to the continued state of the country regardless of who is in power when a gang can hold an entire city hostage. Yeah? Can you imagine? Sandra saying, right now my day at work and don't know how I'm going to reach home. I mean, many citizens at this time who have to traverse through the area, they are concerned, they're worried. The police say they have it under control and they're working to restore peace and order in the area. Chris Duncan says, I stand with the police no matter who the guy is. Novia also saying, I stand with the JCF. K. Sean is saying, put a barbed wire around Spanish Town and invite California wildfire. Wow. Innocent people, I can say, innocent people are in Spanish Town and its environs. Is not everybody. I do the same, you know. So, yeah. Let me see if I can get a few off of our YouTube platform. Becca Hedges saying no gangsters and extortions in our lovely land of Jamaica. Let me see. Iron Lady say, Roby and Brave, she gone to Spanish Town during gang violence. Oh, wow. And it's just the nature of the job, one would think. Cheryl Williams says it's full time the government and the security forces take back Jamaica from these hoodlums. Yeah. Angela Ellis is saying, "Oh, for dirt, for just get dirt." Argument done. Let me see if I can get in a few more. Michael Wright says, "What about the other side? What about the?" Yeah. Let me see if I can get in a few more here. Mona Smith says, I am on the side of the law and order. Judge or maker, pick your choice. Yeah. According to Garfield Edwards, he's saying that the news emboldened criminals. Too much attention. Well, you see, we're just reporting, you know. Marcus the Best is saying the police should be in the background. The military must be in charge. Yeah? Mystical Vibration says some people for cut the foolishness. Some of these inner city communities had leaders always turn dons without political interference. Yeah? Wow. All right. A lot more coming in. A lot more comments coming in. Peter St. Charles says, let us pray for end to violence. Innocent lives are being affected. Jennifer Phillips says, really sorry for the law-abiding people, citizens who have to be going through this. Yeah. Dean is saying the place clear up now. I drove through Tawes Meadows earlier. Yeah, man. The police did say that the roadblocks have been cleared. And the areas are relatively calm. Yeah, the town area is relatively calm, so people can feel free to traverse the area. I would recommend quickly. Yeah, if you're doing so, do it quickly. Don't linger. Yeah, you never can tell what's happening, and never can tell what is going to happen. My grandmother would say, gunshot no eye. All right, on X, Dr. Proud says it's frightening how crime continue to cripple the society when authorities clamp down. Social engineering is required in this crime fight, or we continue to waste time. McHugh is saying the flare-up of violence in Spanish Town is concerning and highlights ongoing social and economic challenges in the area. God's official on X saying Tivoli incursion 2.0 required, eradicate criminals, exterminate the roaches. Yeah? Wow. Dr. Edilosin? Okay, Dr. Edilosin. Jamaican soldiers need to go to Haiti to help catch barbecue. We do have soldiers in Haiti. Yeah. Yeah. Grounded on the Tarmac says, y'all are just chatting. Control is lost. Will never be regained. Yeah. Mystical Vibration says, journalists go to Iraq and Gaza in war where heavy missiles are being fired. Journalists cover stories in US, Canada. So what do you expect from journalists? Yeah, man, we have to go into the heat of it. We have to, we have to let everyone know what's happening. So, wow. Yeah. Becca Hedge says, little by little, the police are come for the madman and gangsters. And Barbara Ellington believes that at this rate, we'll soon be like Haiti. Well, God forbid. I say God forbid towards that one because, I don't know, man. We hope and pray that the police and, well, if the military is called in, we hope and pray that everything is under control by now and the people can go about their business, their lawful business. And we hope to see tomorrow what will happen. There's a 48-hour curfew in place in the areas, Ellerslie Pen and Tawes Meadows as well. And we hope that anybody who have to travel through Spanish Town or who live in a Spanish Town, just try to be safe. Yeah? That's all the time we have for Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:37.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 out west in Montego Bay.
Start your fitness journey today and make 2025 your healthiest yet with Express Fitness. State-of-the-art equipment, expert trainers, and encouraging community are here to support you every step of the way. Join now and take the first step towards a stronger, happier you. Express Fitness, starting at only $9,500 per month with 11 locations island-wide. Your gym for all your needs. Visit www.expressfitnessja.com to sign up today.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robeanne Williams. Meta, the company which owns social media networks Facebook and Instagram, has denied forcing users to follow official accounts belonging to senior figures in the new Trump administration. Some users of the platforms had complained following Donald Trump's inauguration on Monday that they had automatically been made to follow the new president, as well as Vice President J.D. Vance and First Lady Melania Trump. Meta spokesman Andy Stone explained that the accounts were managed by the White House, which had updated them to reflect the new position holders. Still in the U.S., President Donald Trump on Thursday ordered the creation of a cryptocurrency working group tasked with proposing new digital asset regulations and exploring the creation of a national cryptocurrency stockpile, making good on his promise to quickly overhaul U.S. crypto policy. The much-anticipated action also ordered that banking services for crypto companies be protected, alluding to industry claims that U.S. regulators have directed lenders to cut crypto companies off from banking services, something regulators deny. The order also banned the creation of central bank digital currencies in the U.S., which could compete with existing cryptocurrencies. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 157 Jamaican dollars and 61 cents to buy $1 US, 194 Jamaican dollars and 24 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 110 Jamaican dollars and 69 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robeanne Williams. Good evening.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chaka my figure dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Beat waka figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, or Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Shop and make a difference at Market on the Terrace by Sigma Run, Friday, January 24. Sagicor Head Office, Barbados Avenue, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Shop with purpose. Super deals on fresh produce, fruit trees, delicious food, beautiful orchids, nutritional advice, giveaways. Part proceeds go towards our Sigma Run beneficiaries. The more you shop, the more you'll give. Don't miss Market on the Terrace by Sigma Run, Sagicor Head Office, Friday, January 24. Make a difference, one purchase at a time.
KFC pop, popcorn chicken. KFC popcorn chicken. Incredible, delicious finger licking in the sauce when me dip it. I can't resist it. Once you start, you can't stop.
Do whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Now available in hot and spicy. Try with our new dipping sauces. KFC, it's finger licking good.
KFC popcorn chicken.
Yeah, here? If you're tired of a cluttered office space, then you need to call Corporate Interiors International. We offer top quality industrial shelving, filing cabinets, and storage cabinets to keep your workspace organized and efficient. Plus, comfortable office chairs that will keep your team productive and focused. Visit us today at corporateinteriorsjm.com or call us at 876-630-0010 for more information. Corporate Interiors International. We sell solutions, not just furniture.
Are you equipped to protect your organization from financial crime? The University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, in partnership with the Anti-Money Laundering and Financial Crimes Institute, is offering internationally recognized certifications in anti-money laundering, improved compliance with certifications in FCPA, fraud risk management, countering the financing of terrorism, and more. Visit www.ucc.edu.jm or call 876-906-3214 for more information.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you've been with us since 5:30, hello. This is The Nation's Business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, and we're continuing our discussion regarding the violence in Spanish Town. And we're going to turn to two principals. Several schools, as you know, in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, were forced to dismiss early on Thursday in response to the violence rocking the old capital. The violence stems from Wednesday night's fatal shooting of the leader of the One Order gang, Othniel Laban, also known as Tickman. The affected schools include Jonathan Grant High, Spanish Town Infant, and Spanish Town Primary.
And when our news center arrived in Spanish Town, children could be seen exiting from the school compounds to make their way home. Principal of Spanish Town Primary, Roger Curlew, says they dismissed early following an assessment of the situation. A parent who spoke with Nationwide's team expressed fear while picking up her child from school.
I am so nervous right now. I'm scared for my child. I don't know what is really happening because I got the news this morning. I heard it on the news. And this is very scary for us here. And I don't really know what is happening. What I heard from the news, that's what I have to go with. But
So you come and pick up your daughter?
Yes. Teacher asked me to pick her up because of this violence.
And another parent called for the security forces to intensify measures to tackle crime and violence in Spanish Town.
Measures that can be able to challenge the criminal elements who are reaping what I would call havoc in Spanish Town. Business people cannot go about their business. Normalcy cannot be restored. So I believe new initiative, new crime fighting tool need to be common stream to tackle this problem that Spanish Town is suffering from.
Another parent there in Spanish Town. We're now being joined by the principal of Spanish Town Primary School, Roger Curlew, as well as principal of Jonathan Grant High, Kevin Wittick. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Sir Bruce. Good evening to the other host.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone, and good evening to your listeners as well.
Good evening, Principal. We take my neighbor and colleague.
All right.
Sir Curlew.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Principal Curlew, let me start with you. What's the situation as it relates to school? Will you be reopening your doors tomorrow?
No. I got off the phone a couple of minutes ago with one of the inspectors at the station because since morning I've been in dialogue with them for them to advise me regarding tomorrow. What I get to understand is that the tension is still very high, and I'm going to be sending out a communication in another couple of minutes to the teachers and parents regarding online classes for tomorrow for both children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Principal Wittick?
Yes, we are having similar situations. As it is, we have been communicating with the police for the entire day, hour by hour, and just about 6:15 or so, I've gotten confirmation that in many areas, they are still tense, and hence we decided to remain face-to-face for tomorrow. The fact is, many of our students, are from the communities that are tense, so for the safety of the students and also staff, we decided to, move from face-to-face tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Principal Curlew, how generally has your staff been managing the situation that is currently in Spanish Town? What has been the response from them and also from parents?
Quite fearful, since morning because I got on the campus at about 5:30 this morning, as every morning, and even though this issue started yesterday, I had about 80% of the staff complement present and about 50% of the student cohort present since morning. But what I did in terms of early dismissal at about minutes after 10 o'clock, I instructed all teachers and all students to exit the campus with immediate effect. So the teachers were also sent home, and I stayed back for a couple hours to ensure that the campus was sterile and everybody was off the campus safely, of course. So the teachers are, they have families too, so they pretty much are concerned and fearful as to what continues to happen in Spanish Town from time to time.
Mm-hmm. And Principal Curlew, in terms of online learning, I know there are challenges in some schools as it relates to ensuring that all children have the necessary devices to be able to log on. What's the situation at Spanish Town Primary?
Well, I know for Spanish Town Primary, one of my senior teachers who deals with technology. From time to time, we check on the system to make sure that the Google Classrooms are up and running our learning management system. We also bought a software about a year ago where we use it to store data and to assist with the Google Classroom that we can also put in effect for tomorrow and whenever we have online classes. I think up to about 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with my tech team to find out the status of our online classes to make sure that in an event like this, the system is up and running. As it relates to devices, yes, you are correct. Some of our students are without devices, but for those who can't access the Google Classroom, they will go WhatsApp or Zoom.
And Principal Wittig, same question for you. How are you managing the online process? Is it that all your systems are up and running, and also the concern about students not being able to log on because of not having the proper devices?
Yes, correct. The systems are up, The major issue is with the students who are having device issues or connectivity issues. The fact of the matter is our Google Classroom, we have it up and running. Most students, especially for those in grade 7, from time to time would have forgotten their password to enter. So with that, we tend to use dual modalities just to ensure that every child gets an opportunity to get some level of engagement during this time. So yes, there are challenges, and you all know right around, not all the students have the devices, and the internet connectivity is really a problem throughout. But as it is, WhatsApp is one of the most frequently used. I guess that also use less data or bandwidth for the students. So, we are trying, and as it is, we really monitor the online programs or the online platforms just to ensure that the students who are there, at least for them to get work that is left in the room. It's not a situation, that they have to log on throughout the 1 hour session. But if it is that they can just log in just to get the information and work throughout under the guidance of the teachers.
Oh, because that was going to be my question. Because when I hear you say WhatsApp, I was trying to picture how that works. So the information is just sent to them, and then they are expected to work at home and submit their finished work.
Yes, they do that, and the work also can be marked on WhatsApp.
And Principal Curlew, Spanish Town is known for periodically having these kinds of flare-up. Talk to our listeners about how difficult it is to manage a school in that kind of environment.
It is extremely difficult because from time to time I have to ensure that my teachers are counseled, because of what, Spanish Town has become a volcano that erupts from time to time, and this is really so sad. And this issue, I don't know when this issue will be able to be addressed fulsomely, for this rubbish to stop and from negatively impacting our students and our teachers. So it is challenging, and also for me as the leader of the institution, who has to ensure that everything is in place and to ensure that the students and the teachers and support staff are safe. It can really be very, very overwhelming. But with the support of the board, of course, and with the whole issue of situational leadership, where I know that this might happen from time to time, so I have to prepare myself. I think so far, with the help of the board and my faculty, of course, we're handling the situation well. I remember the last time when this happened, parents came in fast and furious even before dismissal. We had to be doing a lot of release slips, and we had to just open the gates and say to parents, just go to the classes and, get the child from there, head to the office, get the release slip, and so it can be very overwhelming.
And Principal Wittig, from your student standpoint and from your teachers, have you seen any noticeable signs from any of the students, teachers, as to how the violence that continues in the community is affecting just their performance at school?
Yes, it does. And a matter of fact, just yesterday afternoon, we had to make a decision in terms of dismissing school early because of when it started. And so we were on the looking out to see what will happen or how will we deal with the situation come this morning. However, there are a number of students coming to the external exam years for the grade 11, 12, and 13, and of course a number of students from grade 10 who start external exams. So they are looking forward for their additional work and their time to buckle down. And the fact that these situations come up where we have to just dismiss school abruptly or to go online where many students would have had the challenges. So there are issues. The teachers share their concerns. They look at what they will have to cover in terms of content and so on. They are falling behind. And, as a shift school, that even make it difficult for us. We operate on 2 shifts, as you might be aware. And as such, with so many students, at one shift, we don't have an additional classroom where we can even take students from the other shift for extra classes. So it is a difficult situation, and they are concerned. The students are concerned. The teachers are concerned. The parents also have concerns. And so it's a problem that we'll hope that, it discontinue in a very, very timely manner, very soon, because if we're going to continue like this and with the challenges that we are having, and don't forget that many of our students, they are actually living this daily. They are living in communities that are challenged, and so it is very difficult to have them, on a steady mind every single day.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of, you talk about the steady mind. So I know security of the physical plant must also be an issue, because where you have a situation where gunshots can ring out at any time, how do you ensure that the physical plant is secure such that you don't have perhaps gunmen who are running from, their adversaries running onto the school compound?
Well, I must say, the perimeter fencing for the school is quite good. We have high walls and high fences. The gates are secured. So, we just have to try our best. We're not saying that we'll stop everything or everybody. But we all know that what we have to do is to maintain that we have a gate and it is locked periodically. And sometimes, in this situation, it will be locked for a long time. The security can't be on the front as how he or she would normally be. So that's, yes, it's a challenge. And, it's something that you probably have to look into get more electronic sort of security system to ensure that, we as teachers, and the security team don't have to face to face with all these challenges, the situations that are going on.
Mm. Principal Curlew?
Have there been...
Sorry, go ahead,
yeah,
Sanjay.
Go ahead, Curlew.
Yeah, sir?
Same question.
Yeah, I was asking about the physical plant, yes.
Yeah, right. Well, we have cameras placed in strategic locations on the campus. I can see everything from my office. The VP's office also have, they can track what is happening on the campus. Similarly to principal, we take security. We can't have our watchman that is there, our security person that is there for the day, be exactly at the guardhouse. There has to be some yards up into the yard, based on what might happen from time to time. Our security fence, it's intact. What I did since January, I kind of changed the security protocol where we have a front gate, we have an exit gate, we have a back gate, and we also have 2 gates to the field. Those gates are kept locked. The back gate is kept locked. After 7 o'clock, it's locked. The only gate that is used is the entrance gate. We have an exit gate that we use for the students to exit both morning and afternoon shift. So we have to keep the security tight. I also do some patrolling in the mornings and in the afternoon, so ensure everything is okay. On the outside, when our students are coming in the mornings, I'm there with one of my security persons, ensuring that everything is okay. Also in the afternoon, at time to time, I'm at the gate. I have some radios that I recently bought to improve the security. I'm at the school where the security at the gate can call me on the radio. The vice principals have one of those radios. The secretary at the front has one of those radios. So we have really improved security on campus, just in case there is any eventuality.
And you see, just listening to this, I'm thinking how much more difficult your jobs must be as educators. Because that kind of extensive security arrangement for a school, I mean, plus balancing the fact that you have to do the teaching and the learning and the managing of staff, that must be very difficult.
Extremely, with no additional pay. with no extra for myself or principal we take, based on where our schools are located. It is extremely difficult. I have to run errands in the morning before I go to office. And that is my style of leadership. I'm on the road. My school is behind the police station, right behind Shoppers Fair. I'm on the road. I walk up to Shoppers Fair in the mornings, see how my students are, hurry them onto the campus. And even when I see principal with their students too, I will also say to them, what time school starts? Head over to Jonathan Grant if sir is not on the front. And then I do my patrol on the campus, myself and my VP. Walk along walk around in the school, check the fence, check everything to make sure everything is okay. Students are inside and students are safe. So actually, I have 2 jobs in one.
Yeah, but with all of that, gentlemen, do you get more money in your budget for security from the Ministry of Education? Because certainly you're doing more than some other schools outside of that area would have to do.
No.
Not at all. There's just a budget for that aspect of it. No more. We just have to work within the constraints, yes? And if we want it better as a school, as an institution, we have to find other means of, getting that resources. We look at, security take a big chunk out of our income generating projects at school. And, that is what really helps us. We could have done much more with instructional instruments and all these things, but guess what? The matter of the security is very, very important. And we talk about safety and security in schools. We can't afford to drop the ball on that part of it.
Yes. Well, have you lobbied with the ministry to increase the budget, considering that you have to spend more to protect those within the school?
Every single year. I must say, I'm almost completing 1 year at Jonathan Grant now as acting principal. And prior to that, every single year you go, it would have been the same cry. So, the budget is very small, and we just have to find innovative ways of ensuring that we keep our safety and security on top. If we don't do that, you can understand where we'll end up. So, we use this medium as well. I'm sure that, those at the highest level, those who are in command would have heard, and I'm sure many are listening as well. So maybe this can be a measure or, a way of putting out our messages to see if we can get it through you. I'm sure that you do much more than what you are doing now, hearing all of this. But it's a situation that really needs to be dealt with as it relates to budgeting in schools. And it's not just for security. It's all sorts of different areas in the school support, the school system that are, I believe, is sort of under budget if you want to make good of, make the students realize their full potential.
Gentlemen, hold it for us. We're up on a time signal. And after the time signal, I'm going to play something for you that our reporter captured in Spanish Town today. Some children interacting, and then we'll continue.
GK1 now introduces third-party motor insurance from GK General Insurance. Download and log into the GK1 app, then select one of 3 affordable third-party options. The time by GK General Insurance is...
It's 7:01.
KFC popcorn chicken. KFC popcorn chicken. Incredible, delicious finger licking in the sauce when me dip it. I can't resist it. Once you start, you can't stop.
Do whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Now available in hot and spicy. Try with our new dipping sauces. KFC, it's finger licking good.
KFC popcorn chicken.
Yeah, here? If you're tired of a cluttered office space, then you need to call Corporate Interiors International. We offer top quality industrial shelving, filing cabinets, and storage cabinets to keep your workspace organized and efficient. Plus, comfortable office chairs that will keep your team productive and focused. Visit us today at corporateinteriorsjm.com or call us at 876-630-0010 for more information. Corporate Interiors International. We sell solutions, not just furniture.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5, having a very interesting and instructive discussion with two principals from the Old Capitol, the principal of Spanish Town Primary, Roger Curlew, principal of Jonathan Grant High School, Kevin Wittick, outlining for us the challenges they face as school administrators in an area that is prone to violence. And today, our reporter was in the Old Capitol, and school was dismissed. We're not going to name the school or identify the children, but our reporter, her recorder was on, and she captured an interaction between two young children. And I think it's important to play this because I want to get from the administrators. Obviously, these children come from, in some instances, difficult communities, and these administrators have to deal with some of the behavioral issues that arise. And so I want to warn you, listeners, it's difficult to listen to in some respects, but I think it's important to play it. Play it for me, please, Bugs.
What kind of stabbing you're talking about? Or if you talk about stabbing, you don't need to stop the foolishness. Like you bring knife or something. You bring knife? Little pit knife, short. But stab up. Where you stab him up? Pencil. And you think, where you think I got him when you stab him up with pencil? Fighting. Look, me in a grade 3. Yeah. How much you in a? Grade 5 you in a grade 3. And what do you fight for? Foolishness. Yeah, how much? In a matter of how much you can't stab him up with no pencil. What kind of stab up argument that? Good. You can't stab him up. One time make you dead already. What if people them dead, yeah?
Which phone call? Your phone?
Come auntie or foreigner make sure cost the man and what are people them dead, yeah?
Listen to the man, look.
Wait, people them police, soldier and... My brother, 3 brother, soldier. Hey. Words, baby, words. Oh, you mean kill? Take up your bag and come go home. I'm come go home. No, don't say that.
Hey, you don't go.
Aye. Go on home, baby. Go on home. Go home.
The voice there you hear is Robian, and school was dismissed, and her recorder was on. These boys were in some kind of altercation, one in grade 3, one in grade 5. And what was chilling about that to me, you heard one of the children telling the other that his relative could make a phone call and the whole of your people them would have dead. Principals, I want to know how you deal with that kind of thing that must manifest itself on your campuses.
I tell you, it's really troubling hearing that from that level, that age group of students. I'm telling you, I listened to it, and I was wondering if this was real. It is not strange, really, to be honest with you. From time to time, you have these threats, and, people would have made certain threats about getting help from, bigger family members or so on. But this level, hearing all of this and what's going on in our country now, we have heard many of these situations. But coming from this, but as a school, though, we have to be monitoring these students. We have day-to-day bullying of students going on. I mean, presently we have been running an overtime anti-bullying campaign at Jonathan Grant for a number of weeks now, from last term into this term. And, where there are these concerns, we have sent students to the different outside agencies to get support as it relates to behavioral changes. So it is within the scope. It is in the schools. No doubt we can't hide it. Not as, well, you hear this from the primary school. I was just going to say it's not as bad as in the primary school at the high school, since we have more mature students. But this is troubling hearing from these younger students. So we have to be on that. We have our safety and security team at school led by the Dean of Discipline and myself. Other teachers would have had to deal with other situations. We have had to call in parents. As a matter of fact, come next week, we have a parent seminar. It has to do with how do we treat these type of situations. So we try all the different means, external sources, just to ensure that we can try to get these students in the guidance counselors. They have their hands full, I can tell you. I think these communities and schools also need social workers just to get into some of these situations.
Which leads me to my point, Kevin Wittig. It must be very difficult for your guidance counselors to deal with situations like this, where we're seeing this happening from within the homes. And when they come to school, trying to change that mindset when they're going to the very homes that creating this type of situation. How it must be difficult for your guidance counselors. How is it that they're managing given the behavioral issues that exist and trying to change that mindset of the students?
It is very difficult, I'm telling you. I mean, sometimes I actually play the part of a guidance counselor, as many teachers do. At Jonathan Grant, we have 3 guidance counselors. And, sometimes I believe we need another 3, based on the number of cases, the number of situations that we have to deal with. Kudos to them. They have been doing a very, very good job. But there's still more to be done because, looking at what we are having, look at these situations now. You can just imagine how many of our students, which I have not known yet, would have had relatives who have been, in this situation. Not sure of, especially the young man who died, or those who have lost their lives. Not sure. But they have to come into school and they have to deal with the situation. They have this trauma to live with. And they will pop up sometimes at school because these cases have to be dealt with. We can't allow our little children to be living like this. And so we have to do a number of things just to ensure that we can get them focused in schools. Again, the shift system, they only have 5.5 hours with us during the day. So everything that we have done is just for that year. They have gone back to their respective homes and communities and go there live again. So, it's difficult. And sometimes as a principal and teachers, we are doing much more than just instructions. Yes, instructional leadership for me is a challenge because the time and the other things that actually happening in and around school, to get instructional leadership, right, to get instructions to be on par, these are the issues that you have to deal with just to ensure that you have a smooth running of a school.
Roger Curlew, is that kind of thing normal? Because when I heard it, and I was very taken aback, especially because of how young they are.
Yes, but what we are seeing is that the impact of the home and the community and some of our students. And the students have to be living 2 lives. They have to come and adapt to the rules of the school, and then when they leave school, they go back to their normal lives. I have been at Spanish Town Primary for 3 years and 5 months, and I have done is to read. I'm using a military approach around the school.
A military approach?
Yes, and based on where the school exists, you cannot use any other type of leadership. It means that the rules of the school that are written in the handbook, the parents have to be reminded of it. They have to purchase the handbook, and the parents were told that as one of the rules from the handbook, any child that is caught with any sort of substance or weapon, ganja, knife, any sort of weapon of the sort, the parents would have to come because it is straight suspension.
And you at a primary school, you are fearful that knives and ganja could be brought onto at a primary school?
Yes, could be brought. And so the parents have to be told from the onset that any child that is found with anything like this, it is straight suspension.
Have you ever had any instances of that though?
No. No instances of that, and I hope not to have anything like that happening. So it's really challenging, and if this approach is not taken, some of the students will overrun the school as well as some of the parents. So the parents have to know exactly what are the penalties for actions done by their children.
What led you to feel that you needed to run the school, as you put it, from a military approach? What led you to come to that conclusion?
Based on the environment, and in my earlier months there, I detected some behaviors from some of the children when my guidance counselor spoke to me, and also what existed in the past among some of the students at the school. So what I do sometimes, I also am on the plazas, checking to see what's happening with the children when school is dismissed, to see if they are heading home. And I'm up by Shoppers Fair to see what's happening up there too, because I'm ensuring that there's no fights on the road nor on the campus. And so I usually at times do that. And so if this is not done, parents will want to do what they want to do, and students will think that The school has no rules, and it will not happen under my leadership there. Not when I'm still there.
You indicated, though, Principal Curlew, that the students are living, in essence, two different lives. They're conforming at school, but when they go home, it's a different situation. Do you think that?
For them.
Yeah, but do you think that with all that you're doing, it's counterproductive? Because when they go home, they go back to their usual lifestyle.
I think it is impacting positively, and some of the service programs out of the guidance department and other programs. We recently partnered with the Spanish Town Police with a mentorship program. Some of our boys and girls who we deem need a little bit of mentorship. We also have put in place a cadet corps with the Spanish Town Police. So we have put some programs in, and I think most of our students, they know the right things to do. They know the right things to do. But one of my boys told me one of the days that, sir, you know, I can't farm here, but when I go back into my community, and if I go on like Safas, you know, the boys will beat me up, you know, and me have to go back into the place and act tough. And make sure so them know, say, me tough and they can run over me.
As a primary school child, that's what he's...
Primary school. They say, sir, I know what to do, you know, but I can't go back into the community, you know, sir, and move like a Safas, you know, because if I do that, the boys them there, you know, sir, we think, so boy, me a Safas, and they can beat me up and things. But I know the right thing to do, but I just have to put on a face and I go back home. And I said, boy, it's really challenging for some of the students. It's really based on the years that they're from. So we incorporate counseling, of course, and we have some programs in place. I also launched a principal's hour. Well, not an entire hour, but a little time to wrap with the boys and the girls from grade 4 to 6, 1 to 3. They ask me questions. I encourage them. So we have programs in place, but I have to keep it tight, keep the school tight, to ensure that discipline, because if there's no discipline, there cannot be any learning.
How big is your student body?
1,400 for both shifts.
1,400?
Yes, for both shifts. So that's the entire enrollment with 70 teachers.
Wow. And Principal Wittig, how large is yours?
1,874 students.
Oh.
So on one shift, on the junior shift, we have 1,020 students. You know, it is really a large school. The population is very large. And you can imagine with how many students we have to deal with the different issues. You asked a question about weapons. We don't have much problem in terms of weapons on the compound around schools because guess what? We ensure that we have periodical searches. We have search at the gate. It sometimes take a little time and students may have to line up for a while. But we have to ensure that we put these things in place so those who have the intention, yes, will know that it won't work at Jonathan Grant. I'm not saying because from time to time we'd have gotten reports that students have their knives and so on hide outside. But that's difficult for us to manage. You know, what we try to do, once we get those reports, we tend to do a little investigation and so on. But we have done well in terms of we don't have serious issues in terms of that sort of negative impact where wars and, you know, weapon use are concerned at school. None at all.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and thank you for your service, really, to the country and to our children. Keep it up.
Before you go, so I'd really like to extend, you know, my heartfelt, you know, express myself to my teachers, entire staff, all the staff at Jonathan Grant High School, and also the parents, because they were also in the midst of help to make these decisions, you know, giving us information of what's happening in and around them. So the parents have acted well. Our staff also act well. So, you know, right across the board and the Ministry of Education, they are very supportive as well.
Yes, I want to do the same to pick up my teachers, the best teachers in Jamaica and the Caribbean, Spanish Town Primary, my board, and my entire staff.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your service. Really appreciate your time this evening.
You're welcome. Bye.
The principal there of Spanish Town Primary, Roger Curlew, and principal of Jonathan Grant High, Kevin Wittig, really laying out for us how difficult the job is of being principal in an area that is prone to violence, prone to, the schools have children who come from difficult communities.
Yes.
You heard what Principal Curlew said? A primary school student is telling him at that level that you're conscious that you can't be too soft when you
Yes.
go back to your community.
Oh boy. And also, you realize what Kevin Wittig indicated, that they have received reports of individuals hiding weapons outside of the school. So, in a sense, as school is done, they would go back for their weapons, in a sense, to protect themselves. It's really sad, though.
And it
Institution of learning. Yeah?
Yeah, it reinforces the point that parenting is so important. I think a lot of times in this country, we blame government, we blame the state, we blame schools for failing. The home, we have to fix home life and family life in this country. We do.
Can I extend it, Ricardo, to say the community?
Yeah, no, I agree. But you see, I feel like we've become so insulated and almost selfish that I don't know if we can rely on community anymore. And so, but you're right. You're right.
No,
it should be that way. Yeah, it should be that way.
I'm not taking from you. I agree that the home, but I'm extending it also to say the home along with the community.
Yeah. We can only hope that they'll step up. But those two gentlemen are heroes. Those are the people who we should salute and highlight for the very good work they do in trying to really steer our children along the correct path. 19 minutes after 7. After the break, we're going to take your call, 630-9371-4, 618-8255.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of The Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
First up this evening, Alric. Good evening.
Good evening, Alric. Who is your co-host?
Sanjay Lewis.
Sanjay, how I'm going, man?
I'm good. How you doing, Alric?
Boy, I'm there, but me feel disappointed and as a Jamaican, a senior citizen, with children who grew up differently from what I'm seeing now and how I was grown up by my grandmother and my other parents. Because listening to those two principals, you just feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
And I heard Ricardo saying, boy, him no know how them manage. But look here, you saw what happened in Spanish Town yesterday because it was on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when your children, who you grow up a certain way, behave a certain way, but those children of those people in Spanish Town, destroying police vehicles, blocking roads, setting fire. What do you expect those children to do when they go to school?
Because they're being set a poor example.
You and Sanjay tell me.
Because they're being set a poor example.
So, Ricardo, come right back to where you said parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Because, look here, if me see my mother and my uncle and my auntie behave like what I saw yesterday,
you think it's okay?
When me go to school, at the same sort of behavior me go have towards my fellow students and my teachers and the principal and everybody.
Yeah.
And notice, Alric, what one of the principal indicated, that sometimes it's like they're living two different lives. So sometimes they will come to school and they conform, but once they return back to their communities, it's back to normal.
You hear what the youth tell the principal say? Me have to behave tough.
Mm-hmm.
When me go back home, because if me not behave tough, them are going to beat me. So Ricardo, what we do? Sanjay, what we do?
It feels like we're setting up our children to fail. That's how it feels and comes across to me.
But me can't understand, because those people yesterday that I saw in Spanish Town doing what they were doing, don't they know that it would have affected their children today and tomorrow and 2 days classes missed? Because even when you go online for classes, some of the students are slow, guys, so they need the face-to-face with them teacher to hug them up and ask them if you understand 2 + 8 minus that equal what, and the teacher show them a little love, and them gravitate to that, and them say them classmates who can help them, and Ricardo, that's a Sanjay, that little match I struggle with, and you're brighter than me, so help me no, man.
Yeah, face-to-face is preferable, no doubt about that.
So what we're going to do, guys? What we're going to do?
Well, you tell me. You've been around longer than I have.
I will not, because no government can solve it. The Prime Minister, the Minister of Education, it's the parents and the society that we're growing up in. So what we are going to do?
That's the question, Alric. That's the question.
So what's the answer?
Boy, I don't have one. I don't have one, because I tell you the truth. I tell you the honest truth. Sometimes when I assess the level of social, I'm going to call it social decay in this country, and just the absence of values and good attitudes, decency, it almost seems insurmountable. It really does. And you're right. Government can only do so much and no more. In fact, sometimes I wonder whether government can engineer society in that way. I wonder if government is the best leader of that kind of social renewal in attitudes and values. I don't know. But it's a difficult question, Alric.
And I question also, Alric, because we know, as we indicated, and Ricardo said it rightly, we have to go back to parenting. And I question, how are we going to fix those challenges within the homes, within the communities, to fix the problems that we have with our children? And it's hard, because no amount of programs, or no number of programs that we can think of, can really fix this decay that we're seeing happening within our society. So how are we going to fix it? We know the social intervention programs, and you hear them that they don't work. Why do we need to re-engineer those social integration into those social programs to see how they can be better equipped to fix the problems that we have within our communities? I'm just trying to think, how can we really fix the problem that is before us?
I have an answer,
What's up?
It might hear the wrath of people. You find the parents responsible for the responsible behavior of the children, because I saw those parents behaving yesterday. Lock them up, man.
Well, you see the challenge with that, you see, Alric, you lock them up, and then the children are left to who?
Yes. So, why I don't know?
See.
It hurt me. I saw it yesterday and I listened to you guys with the two principals a while, and I'm beating my head to find out what. Because look here, you miss 3 days of school. Some of them don't have no tablet to be online, and them no bright already. So them gone back some more. So what is going on?
I didn't even know that primary schools.
Chain of the bad man is the man, the gun thing catch them because them end up not being able to read.
It's a vicious cycle. I didn't even know that primary schools had shift systems. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I went to a primary school that was on a shift system.
Because I mean, a shift at a high school is already terrible. For a young child,
Yeah, man.
Guys.
Thanks for the call.
No.
630-9371-461888255. Bobby, good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Sanjay.
Yes.
Yes. Good evening, Bobby.
Yes. I was so disturbed a short while ago when I hear those two youngsters. Boy, as a person who serves on a school board, I am very disheartening. I don't know what next. Oh boy. But, we just have to leave them in the hands of God, especially the parents and the home where some of these youngsters are coming from.
But Bobby, can I tell you, I fear we're leaving too much up to God, As a society, it just feels like sometimes just throw up our hand and say, divine intervention, and God will see us through. I don't know if that is enough, I don't know.
Well,
I mean, I understand that we're people of faith, but my God, man, we have to try to fix it.
Man, trust me.
We have to try to fix it.
Something, and God will help us on the journey, Yes. Just want to clarify something. Hi, hello?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to clarify something. I call a talk show today, but it is not nationwide, saying that there's tension in the Garden Pen and its environment area. But that is absolutely not true. Garden Pen, Heltham, and its environment, Ensom City and so on, it was quite okay. It is business as usual in this division. The council and I, we are...
Hold it for me, Bobby. I have a time signal. Hold it for me.
Apply for your Sagicor Bank Preferred Prepaid MasterCard today. Load your remittances for everyday spending. Receive cash transfers from any local bank. The time by Sagicor Bank is
7:30. Yes, Bobby. So you're saying that
yes,
you heard something that's not true.
Right, yes. In the Ensom City Division, where we have Garden Pen, Heltham, and the Ensom City and its surrounding, everything was business as usual today. Business was going on in the area. We didn't have any flare-up in the area. It didn't affect us none time at all because the council and I, we patrol our division and we see that our people are safe. So
we spoke to Superintendent Nicholson earlier, and he was saying that part of the challenge they were having was that there were people who were giving the impression that some communities were fearing worse off than they really were. And he was urging that people stop the mischief. So it sounds like that's what you're saying, that you're hearing things that not true on the ground where you are.
Right, yes. It is not true because I must tell you, the division that my council and I control, Mr. Jacob Kukan, this division is peaceful and, the people over here, they cooperate with us. Anytime we talk to them, so everything is okay over here.
All right, Bobby. Thanks for the call.
Okay, then. Good. Thanks.
On YouTube, Brick Road is saying, Sanjay, it is not going to happen as we have thrown out families in preference for baby mamas. There are no fathers, so forget parenting. Maxine Anderson is saying that must be an all-age school. No, Maxine. I believe the principal of Spanish Town Primary just said he had a shift system. Let's see, Roger Shippey saying, as a teacher, I can categorically say the homes with the absence of proper parenting are the breeding grounds for students' behavior in school. Master Jam is saying, Ricardo, I didn't know that. You need to speak to the Minister of Education, I suppose, speaking about the fact that primary schools are on shift. I didn't know that. I really didn't. Yeah. I knew high schools. I didn't know primary schools were also on shift system. Ian says, remember, more man have more girl and more man have car. I believe that was a comment by a former prime minister, I believe. Yes. Mona Smith is saying, Siobhan, I agree with you. No, Mona is Ricardo and Sanjay. Mona says, no, Shippy says, Roger Shippy says, in schools, children are taking home failing grades every test and exam, and parents never show up to the school to inquire. Roger, you're assuming that they are reading reading the report to begin with. George Clive says, if a child receives superintendent suspension in New York City, the child is sent to a suspension center and the teachers have to provide work for those children. Sending him home to do nothing is unproductive. Yes, I have also queried about how exactly suspension helps. Fitzroy Peter says, no, Ricardo, when we see certain behaviors, only God can help us through these things. Boy, I tell you, I understand that we're people of faith, but I feel like sometimes we have to try harder to help ourselves.
We have to help ourselves, definitely. Yeah.
Humble Debtor says, those people don't care about their children. Dana is telling me that there are shift school primary schools in Westmoreland. Cross says, focus
on... I just said it. I went to South Primary.
Oh, Savannah Lamar Primary.
Yeah, man. It was a shift system. I'm not sure if it's still on a shift system, but when I attended, many moons ago.
A long time. I think Sanjay, that probably from the 60s.
Look at it, brother, come date me.
And Dana says Unity Primary was also on a shift.
Yes, that's true. Wait, Dana,
still
Dana
is.
knows so much about Westmoreland.
She says still is. She's from there.
Oh, really?
A country she come from, you know. Cross says, focus on our boys. Single mother homes cannot raise boys. Interesting point, Cross. In fact, I think, what's his name again? From the UE. Professor, his name is escaping me now. No, man. He does the studies, not Anthony Clay. Okay, his name is escaping me now. He talks about the influence of single mother homes on Herbert Gale. Thank you, Dana. On our boys. Marcus the Best says, blaming parents for the ills in the Jamaican society is not a solution. Hold the authority having jurisdiction responsible. And the comments are carrying on YouTube.
I have two here, Ricardo. Let me just read them quickly. Cheryl Hamilton saying the lack of proper parenting is the problem. We have to fix the family. And Master Jam is agreeing, saying it is tough. And this is what happens when communities move away from moral standards. And we too need to think and look back, he says, on traditional lifestyles that exists.
Yeah. Just before we go to the next caller, we're getting a bit of political news. Dr. Michelle Charles in Eastern St. Thomas, she has been able to win the support of a majority of the workers in the constituency. You know, the Labour Party is doing some soundings of their how their MPs have been performing. Dr. Charles seeming here to have survived in Dalby. She got 61 yes, 24 no. In Morant Bay, 119 yes, 18 no. In Port Morant, 55 yes, 24 no. And in Bath, 48 yes, 2 no. So, all things being equal, Dr. Charles should represent the JLP in Eastern St. Thomas at the next general election. 630-937-124, 618-8255. Richie.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Ricardo and Mr. Sanjay.
Good evening.
Good evening, Richie.
Why, you see this problem? It's a problem. Many problems. People are the cause of the problem. Firstly, parenting is a part of it. DJs is a part of it as well. Remember back in the days when teachers used to go to school, go and be teachers for them pitting them. Remember them days there?
That still happen. What do you mean them days there? That still happen today.
We can't.
And it's not even about beating nowadays. You might give one rough grade and them can cuss you off.
Well, listen me, man. DJs, I mean, listen to the sign and sing that song that the DJs singing, brother. These youths have them as the mentors, and they're just talking about violence away. And I say it's a probably long-hidden problem because I remember one day I am to board a taxi coming from Spanish Town into Old Harbour, divert to cut off a town. You know where the cemetery is? Come out there, so. And a little boy, not more than 3 years old, only licking a body around, you know. Because if I'm licking a body around, I kill, I would never forget that thing. I have a nephew. He's 41 years old now. He used to go to Calabar. His father could not stop him from walking in Ratchet, go to school, you know. To a point where his father take one from him today and buy back one tomorrow. My father carry him to a police station and explain to the police and ask the police to open the cell and make him look into it. And so when he look into it, and then come out and say to him that he said, "Timmy, I met a boy diss me." And then buy back a knife, you know. He's a chartered accountant now. His sister, when she migrated to Canada, she left a ratchet and this dinner set. All now nobody can believe because this girl never left her knife at school and nobody don't know. You know what I say to you? Too much of the children in this school, they are bullies. And they just decide to bully every pitney and how them are going to take it. The problem that we have in Bridge is a hidden problem. We don't know. Me hear Bobby talk about God. You can't leave this to God. The government can't control it. We have to try and try to see what we can do. So when we meet youth them at school, on the street, I always encourage them to try to get a good education. What about school is a school that I'm very frequent, you know. One day I was going over there to Mr. Weir. And it's like a security continue. I said, Regina, makes sense go because Mr. Weir, I have no time for you today. And I said, look, I'm a shirt. Two boys over the fight, tell one of them break one next foot, you know. A fight happened in front of the school before that. And a policeman come up and bust some shot in the ear if he stop it, boy, them from fight. Boy, them fight with better, you know. May I say to your brother, it's like, to me, the Bible tell about the third and the fourth generation, the generation of vipers. That ain't you know. The Bible talk about God have to intervene night as well, but we have to try to see if we can counsel them and make them know what is right and what is wrong. And the bad thing about it, they're not paying attention to it with church, you know. Them not paying, but we have a problem and we don't know how we are set, but we have to try.
All right, Richie. Thanks for the call.
Thank you, Richie.
Misty Blue says the home is part of the problem, but the quality of teaching is also part of the problem. Yeah? Carl, good evening.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Sanjay.
Evening, Carl.
Good evening. I am happy that the Commissioner of Police tell Daniel Archer and Trevor Monroe to back off. But the only thing the Commissioner of Police left is to tell them is to tell Trevor Monroe that discuss the problem here. Tell me what happened in Grenada. And what Daniel Archer need to do is to invite Trevor Monroe back Monday and open the line that we can call him and ask him what happened in Grenada.
All right, first things first. It was not Daniel Archer. Trevor Monroe was on Let's Talk Justice.
Let's Talk Justice. Yeah, sorry about that.
With Mikkel Jackson.
Nickel. Right, so and I'm happy that the Commissioner of Police.
So it was not. Yeah. It was not Daniel Archer.
Right. Well,
right.
She should put on a camera and go in Spanish Town yesterday and today. A policeman to stand up yesterday because stop to put on camera, lose their life.
No, Carl. That doesn't follow. I think we can call for police to wear body-worn cameras and still expect them to respond with the necessary force to protect their lives and the lives of civilians when they're confronted by gunmen. I think the cameras would help to show the kind of threat that they face when they confront these hoodlums. So I don't know if it follows that enough to wear a camera.
Maybe we should have camera in the 70s so we don't know what happened in Grenada a long time.
Oh, Lord, Carl. Okay.
Anyhow, I heard the Prime Minister was trying to teach Golding something in the parliament Tuesday, but Golding couldn't understand what the Prime Minister was saying. What the Prime Minister should have done was to carry a small little blackboard and one piece of chalk and tell Golding to take out the exercise book. So long as Golding never understand Tuesday, which I say we can teach you something, Golding. The only way we can be spending $40 billion now is because our economy is doing. With 21 quarter, we have positive growth. And then we have 13 afterwards, after the coronavirus. So when you have those type of things going, and, you know, fling with the money and run with it, it gives you a buffer. But the Prime Minister continues to tell you Golding, which you cannot understand. So if you have the buffer and you have a natural disaster come again, you can go over there to take something to help that your country not fall in a problem. Golding doesn't understand those type of things. And I heard the Prime Minister tell him. I remember also the same people them who are demonstrate about road there now. Colonel Charles did have to ask somebody about hole and all kind of foolish patrol and all kind of rubbish. So I know today bad road come. And what Golding refused to understand is that in a him government, we couldn't fix a pothole unless Dr. Omar Davis jumped on a plane and got a cocktail party. And one of those rich guys say, how much you want? And he tell him, say, I want 26% or 44% interest. And Omar cannot say no. He has to say yes.
I don't know. No, Carl. I don't know how that happened, but okay. That's not how that happened. Well, all right. Okay.
Anyhow, Ricardo, we are doing things.
By the way, you mentioned the Prime Minister in the Parliament on Tuesday, and I wondered.
Yes.
I heard the Prime Minister saying the reason for the poor state of the roads was poor maintenance over the time of the People's National Party's time in office. And,
exactly.
Hold on. And he also talked about the impact of the changing climate. I accept the latter point as a very reasonable point. We are dealing with
climate change.
Right, and weather events that we've never dealt with before. But how persuasive do you think, after 9 years in office, is the argument that the reason for the poor state is because of the People's National Party? Do you think that's persuasive, especially from a government that's been in office now for nearly a decade?
Okay, so what about the 18? When Bobby Pickersgill did say,
we'll
have patrol.
No, that's fine. No, I get the point. That's fine, and that's a reasonable question. Hold on. That's a reasonable question as well. I agree, because terrible promises that were not kept. Totally agree with you on that. But for how long do you think the Labour Party government can continue to say at the PNP fault?
All right. You want me to adjust that now, Ricardo?
Yes.
Okay, Ricardo. If you have a house and it want to refurnish, the only way you can refurnish it, you have to earn more than what you earn 2024.
Yes.
If 2024 did bad with you, you have to start earn more in a 2025.
True.
You can't fix the rooftop.
Okay, fair.
All right? What used to happen, Ricardo? We used to do this whole like a patch. You notice what the government is doing now? It is fully resurfacing the road. So if you're fully resurfacing
that's under the spark.
Yes.
Instead, rehabilitating the roads, they say. Yes.
Right. You instead you have to go every 2 years, every year. Because when you patch some of the place them, the minute the water touch on them, it automatically becomes but the same pothole, same place. But when you get a full surface, then the water hard to get on it, and you put in your drainage them, you clean all of them, so it will last if you another 4 or 3.5, 4 years. That's what Golding doesn't understand those things. And that's what the Prime Minister was at length trying to teach him
I heard
inside
him.
the Parliament.
I heard him. So my question to you now is, I hear you, and that sounds to me like you're saying, and it sounds like the Prime Minister was also saying, that, one, we never had the fiscal space to do the kind of sustained long-term rehabilitation that the roads require. We're now building to ensure that we are climate resilient, etc. And so it will require some patience. My question to you, though, is, have the Jamaican people run out of patience?
Well, I'm going to turn around the question and ask you the next reason.
Mm-mm.
Why they never run out of patience in 18 years when nothing never go on?
Okay. All right, Carl.
So if you have some brain and you look around your surrounding and you see things are happening, why should you make a blind man come fool you? You would be worse than any blind somebody.
But the problem, though, Carl, as Ricardo indicated, and I hear you, and you explain it quite well, but remember the Jamaican people now are the ones who will elect, who will form the government.
And I cannot fight the Jamaican people that see them right.
Right. So is it that possibly they have run out of patience and they're not taking that information that the Prime Minister is trying to explain? It could be that's the problem.
So are you saying to me that if those should have come back in a power, anything where they get them if you take it, that's what you're saying to me?
No. I was just simply, building on the point that Ricardo was putting across.
Me have to go back in my brain box and ask you a question around. Because so that's how you learn. But we are at school when it comes to nationwide now.
Anyway,
nationwide as a whole.
Before I let you go, I still want to know what's going on in Northern Clarendon, up in the Northern Belt. Or it's still?
No, man. He's all right again, man. He pick up back grounds and he mend some fence and all kind of things. And you know, if you take a drive up there and see a carpet them where I run up in a Morgan place.
No, it's not central. Me talk about Slowly and Henriquez, who I understand is not going back now.
No, Henriquez not going back.
Not Slowly, sorry, Sibley's.
Sibley's I'll win back him seat. And surprises are around for you maybe by Sunday, Saturday evening, Sunday. Big surprise.
What's the surprise? That Warren Newby is going to replace Henriquez?
I wasn't telling you nothing about Warren Newby, and I won't tell you who, but I like a man like me, just wait for the human rights and people open their mouth when they hear that somebody is back into the party.
You mean George Wright? I heard about that as well.
Me never called
but me ask you if a George Wright attack. Me know say a George Wright attack. Me hear saying him apply. I heard me attack. Me attack. Just forget about Sanjay and everybody else right now. Me attack. You know me attack. Me hear say Carl. Say him reapply to the party and he was readmitted to the party. Are true? Tell me. And me alone attack. I'm gonna tell Sanjay. Tell me.
Ricardo. Me tell you a long time. I'm gonna repeat it to you. I am waiting on the human rights them over the weekend for just open their mouth when they hear of a decision that take. Because the first thing, if they open their mouth, they must go tell me about Nickel Phillips.
Tell you what about Nickel Phillips?
Okay. George Wright never enter no court business for him something where them accuse him about now. And me never tell us George Wright to come back neither.
Carl, good evening. Anyway, Sanjay, my sources say Mr. Wright.
For the flick,
Mr. Wright has been readmitted to the Jamaica Labour Party. That's what I understand. So we'll see.
Which means that he is going to be the party's standard bearer. I would assume for Westmoreland Central.
Yeah, no, I understand that. That's the one they think of the 3 Westmoreland seats that they can hold on to, or they have the best chance of holding on to. And you're from there. I understand George Wright is well loved.
That's my understanding also when I speak to individuals on the ground, that he's still loved within the community. And when you look at Westmoreland Central, the only division I would say that would give the JLP a problem is the Savannah Lamar division. But if they can get more individuals from the Petersfield division and the Cornwall Mountain division to come out, then they can go against the problem that they have in the Savannah Lamar division. It's still a winnable seat for the JLP, but it's going to be very tough. And I also believe that Western Westmoreland, Moreland Wilson is a seat that the JLP can also win. But I would say goodbye to Eastern Westmoreland. That's PJ Patterson's old stomping ground that Dayton Campbell is now the standard bearer.
So you don't think Danny Lawrence will get there?
I would be surprised, Ricardo, if
I tell you something.
But as we know, with politics, anything is possible.
And I will tell you something. I am never going to make that prediction again because I remember.
That's why I said I would be surprised.
in the lead up to the 2020 election, I said publicly that if the JLP won the 3 constituencies in Westmoreland, I would wear hot pink to work. The next day, the amount of mention I get, post a picture of the hot pink. Listeners, we have a statement from the High Command of the police. It reads, the High Command of the Jamaica Constabulary Force has identified an elevated threat against the police due to the recent violence in St. Catherine North. Policemen and women are reminded to remain vigilant, alert, and take all necessary precautions to protect themselves and their families. The High Command fully supports the lawful actions of members to safeguard their lives and well-being. The public is also urged to cooperate with law enforcement and refrain from interfering with police and other law enforcement personnel performing their lawful duties. Criminals operating in and around St. Catherine North are encouraged to surrender peacefully when confronted by the security forces. Anyone with information on illegal activities, you're being encouraged to contact the police, the National Intelligence Bureau at 811, or you can contact Crime Stop at 311. So the High Command there saying, yes, the threat level is high and urging vigilance from the lawmen. Who do we have? We can take one more? No. All right. Yeah, so the YouTubers are saying...
Well, man, they're coming from Mr. Dayton Campbell is not winning.
I see Petronas Smith saying George Wright is the right man. He's well loved by the people.
Yeah, that's known. He's loved. When you speak to those in Westmoreland, they tell you that, Ricardo.
Yeah. Mr. Kwan Mays says Lawrence lose that seat from 2020. He only won by a whisker. It is going back to the PMP. Misty Blue says with proper strategizing, Easton will win for the Andrew Holness-led government. Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Delusions.
One of the things we have to also remember, Ricardo, and I know the YouTubers will not be happy that I'm saying this, a lot of the comrades did not come out and vote in the last election. Now, we have to be mindful. When we look at the numbers, we all have to be mindful of those things. I'm not saying that it's not possible that the JLP can retake that seat, but I would be surprised if the JLP wins Eastern Westmoreland.
Yeah. Mikhail says, so Brooks, I can't ask for a lot of numbers from you. No at all, Mikhail. I swear, swear. Said the JLP couldn't. I say could not win Westmoreland. I'm telling people, if say any of that happen, maybe a hot pink hour next year. Tell us, say, September 4, I got hundreds of mentions. Where the hot pink there? Post the hot pink. You know, it was a remarkable feat. It really was a remarkable feat. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what will happen, Ricardo. But Westmoreland is going to be interesting, and I'm particularly interested in that parish because I want to see the dynamics of a PNP being energized and a JLP being on the ground, having the constituency for a while. I want to see, and I think this next election is going to be the real test of Westmoreland. If the JLP maintains those 3 seats in Westmoreland, then we can say the tide has switched to the JLP. Well, let's see.
I don't think they're going to maintain those 3 seats.
I don't think so either, Ricardo,
Corey
but I'm
B
just
says,
saying.
Corey B says the statement is like a scratch record because a lot of new people have remunerated for the JLP. Rasta Rock Jamaican says Westmoreland is going to be interesting. The JLP needs to strategize properly so they can pull off a 2-3 victory. So it seems most people are conceding Eastern Westmoreland.
Yes.
but think West and Central are in play. I
think so too.
From what I understand, it would just be Central for me. But let's see.
No, I will say Western Westmoreland and Central Westmoreland, they're both at play.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mona Smith says, Ricardo, for a parish that was represented by a prime minister and 2 ministers of government, Westmoreland tan bad. True, Sanjay?
Yeah, man. Yep, I will agree with that. They normally would say many years ago that when you leave Montego Bay, or St. James, I should say, you know when you enter Westmoreland because of the roads. There was a difference. But we have seen some changes, I will say, in Westmoreland in terms of the roads and other infrastructure. Is it where we want it to be? Absolutely not. But we have seen improvements.
And finally, Everell McDonald says, Ricardo, if the JLP win 1 seat in Westmoreland, we can say goodbye PMP. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I think if on election night the JLP is winning even one of the 3, then I think they might be, as the Labourites would say, on course for the 3rd term. Dana Davey, thank you so much. You didn't give me a lot of trouble today. This is good. This is an improvement. I appreciate it. Andrew Glenn Anderson, thank you, sir. The members of the newsroom, led by our editor, Cara Powell, the very best in the business. Thank you all. Our sponsors, contributors, and you, our valued listeners. Big up the YouTube massive. Thanks to all our callers. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, wishing for you a wonderful evening.
Good evening.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life.